Again.
Like, really? This is like just seconds into the show.
Silence! Mm-hmm. I kill you! We're men, and we're not afraid to say that we love other men.
What up, G?
My life is nothing I thought it should be and everything I was worried it would become, because for 50 seconds I thought there was monsters on the world.
What ungenuine stable of misery do you live in if you fantasize about driving a bus or sitting on a bench? What's next, a breakfast eating simulator? Oh, careful not to burn your digital toast. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go play an office simulator. Oh, no, wait, that's my job.
Whoa, I think I just figured something out, Beavis. What? This sucks. Yeah, it really sucks. This sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
Don't say no for an answer. There's no
Can I see more white women getting clotheslined, please?
People don't understand. People don't understand. People like me. 'Cause these eyes can see right through you. Don't be surprised.
So Snoop Dogg wins the match because Shane McMahon blew his knee out.
Damn, that was bad, bro.
People don't understand. People don't understand. No, people don't understand. People don't understand. No, people don't understand. People don't understand. People like me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. It is episode 108 of the Ballroom Podcast, and I'm joined here tonight with a colorful group of characters here. I guess we should start off by introducing Orange Hat. How are you doing there, Orange?
I'm Batman.
No, you're not. And then, joining us here tonight is also not Green Lantern, Mr. Rob Rotto. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing pretty good. That's about it. Long Legs was awesome. So that's about it. A little late on that one, but yeah, I liked it.
And then joining us tonight, I know the entire world thinks that this man is dead, but he is not dead. He is joining us here on the podcast here tonight. It is President Joe Biden. How you doing today, Joe?
I've been catching Pokemon. Did I miss something?
No, it's been a slow news week, obviously. I mean, not much has really happened in our world. So, It's gotten so bad we've actually had to cover politics. Isn't that weird?
Joe gave me a bunch of pills from the west coast of China, so we're all set for tonight, boys.
Yes. Just keep taking those pills, Joe.
They're pretty.
They taste like Tic Tacs.
No.
Well, while Joe try to remembers where he is right now, I want to let you guys know that we are here tonight on YouTube, Twitch, and on Rumble. So we're here on 3 platforms going, and we have our good buddy Neozoic is the first person in the chat here tonight saying hello, barroom crew and good fellas in the chat. He has a couple of questions for us here. He says, which American superhero film set would you rather, or watch? Would you rather watch the Wonder Woman 2017 movie or the Captain America movie, the first one? To me, I would lean towards Captain America. I think it's a structurally better film. Wonder Woman was okay for like about 2/3 of it, and then the ending just got really, really stupid, and it kind of lost me there. But I don't think it's a terrible film. I just think that it wasn't nearly as balanced as it should have been. Captain America is probably better for me. One would you guys rather choose? I'll start with Orange.
Definitely Captain America. As much as I liked the first Wonder Woman, Captain America was better structured. It had a good story. It was just objectively better.
All right. Rob, which one are you picking?
They're about the same.
Fuck you.
I've seen each movie once, so that'll tell you.
Well,
but I will say
that'll do it.
I will say Captain America at least has, I believe, Joe Johnston directed that, who did The Rocketeer, one of my favorite, like absolute favorite, like superhero movies from my childhood. So I'll just go with Captain America by default.
He does know how to do older set movies.
Yeah.
Joe, which one are you picking here?
So Wonder Woman, sorry, got it mixed up with Michael. She looks like a really tall 12-year-old, and that's my type.
Please do not sniff Wonder Woman's hair. If there's a one request I have.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, there's a second question, a bonus question here, saying that which U.S.
A bonus hole?
Yeah, no, bonus question. There's no. We're not your daughter. Just stop just for 2 seconds.
Shower time. All right.
Cool idea. Bonus question here: which superhero would you rather support, Superman or Captain America? Considering the fact that Superman's objectively better than Captain America, I'm gonna go with Superman. Would you agree with that statement, Orange?
If I'm not looking at movies, Superman's all over the place, where Captain America has actually largely remained consistent throughout the many decades, except in the 2010s when they turned into a Nazi. So I am actually going to say Captain America in this. I mean, yes, I like Superman, but I honestly think he's been God modded a little too much.
Yeah, I say that much. Rob, let me ask you an honest question. You're a long time Marvel fan. Did you know anything about Captain America before the MCU?
Oh yeah, no. It's funny. I was a big fan of Captain America as a kid. Actually, I was reading the Jack Kirby novels in these big, binded together, volumes of like Jack Kirby era Marvel novels with the Avengers, and I love so many of like the Captain America comics that I read as a kid. So, and I even like the cheesy Captain America movie from the 90s that nobody remembers. I can't defend it now, so please don't hold me to that. But I mean, I remember renting it from the video store down the block. So yeah, no, I have loved superheroes since I was a kid. I just, at a certain point, decided that they weren't for me anymore, because of the direction the cinematic universes were going. And I mean, the comics were interesting to collect during a time, but other than Civil War and maybe the Winter Soldier storyline, I never got too much into Captain America. But I always loved his whole Civil War stance about standing up to the government when it's hard, when your rights, when your liberty is on the line, and what all of that means. So I definitely like the character a lot. But if I'm kind of like picking one, I'd just go with Superman because I think he's a superior character just all around.
Okay, simple Superman would have sufficed. Next time. Thank you for your input there, Rob.
Well, you didn't. That's not so.
Just being a dick. Joe, which one are you picking?
Black Superman, if I'm still running for office. If not, the white one.
So, look, the Black Superman or the Black Captain America? Because there's 2 of them now.
The black Superman, black taps, boring.
Okay. We're going to assume that we're just going to go with Superman. So, who else do we have joining us here on the show tonight? I know Keith is over on our Rumble side of things, so he wants to get ready for a good bar room here tonight. Hopefully, you would get that. Leslie Tarkin is also here saying, "Hail to all you lovely people." I guess her answer to the question would be Captain America, the first Avenger, and then Superman. So that's her answer to her question there. Vanya is also joining us here today saying, hello, you cool dudes. Hello to you as well. Fistful73 says, do we think that Kamala will actually be the nominee, or are they just testing the poll numbers if they need to pivot? I mean, at this point of the game, we'll save that one for the discussion here, because I did hear a rumor here that's actually quite terrifying, but we'll get to that one here later on in the show, so we'll save that for a bit. Leslie Target says that when you click the like button, it's because you like the stream. Liking the stream makes you like the Oh boy, yeah, that's a real. We're in trouble, folks. We're in a lot.
She's a real wordsmith.
Mm-hmm. No, we're in so much trouble. Double Fett here saying howdy. How you doing there, Double Fett? Got Rooftop Korean joining us here as well. Fistful also says that he thinks that 100% they wanted her and Joe Biden to have resigned to make her president today, but their testing poll numbers is terrible. Here's the thing: no one actually likes Kamala. Like no one actually likes her. Like even her own party does not like her. It's a shocking revelation. That's why they didn't vote for her. Yeah, you're with her more than anyone else, so you would know.
BLM rejected her.
She got what? Didn't she get like 3% of the DNC vote in 2020?
Yeah,
like her own party only gave her like 3%.
0%.
It was bad.
0.
Oh man, maybe I was being too gracious putting her at 3.
0.
Black Metal Gamer says, what wrestler would present Kamala for a rally? I mean, there's a lot of cringeworthy. I mean, maybe Becky Lynch. She seems like she'd be a simp enough to do something like that. I mean, if I have to pick one from today.
That big red bitch. That'd
big
be the
red
one that
Irish. Big red Irish Satan Richmond.
Yeah. That guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's probably a dude too. Alex versus Evil is joining us here tonight as well. I still haven't gotten that meme of the hairline god. I think I was supposed to actually months ago and just didn't bother. Top Dog also. Top Dog is here joining us. He has a quick question for us. Were you guys more PS3 guys or 360 fans growing up? Obviously, you guys know that I'm notorious for still having a functioning PS3 that I bought in 2006 with one of my first checks working on my first job at Chili's, and I still have it to this day, and I still play games with it occasionally when I have the time. But yeah, I've always been a Sony guy when it comes to the Sony Microsoft wars. What about you three?
I had a PS2 and an Xbox. I never went higher than that. I got out of gaming after that.
Wow. I was a PS3
guy. Joe, do you even know what these game consoles are?
GameCube.
Yes, GameCube. Okay, well that is an answer, so I will take that.
I think I understood that.
Right.
Oh shit.
It says, what was the last great wrestling game you played? The last one I played was Here Comes the Pain, and that was like PS2. That's the only one that I can put over. Like I didn't care much for the PS3 or PS4 era of wrestling games.
I'd say he was a good wrestler.
Who?
That Stephen Hawkins kid. You just can't put your hands on it squarely, you fucker.
I think you're talking about draws. Yeah, that's not the same one.
No Mercy for me. N64, THQ did a great job with those. I think I played one of the SmackDown games on PS2, and I just never got into them that much. I mean, they're okay. I just, for whatever reason, love the sort of, what is it, WCW versus NWO World Tour, which I don't even think is the best one, the best WCW game on N64. And then you had like WrestleMania 2000, WWF No Mercy, and I just absolutely love those games.
What about, did you mention WCW NWO Revenge, which I think
no, because I never played it.
Because you weren't a WCW fan, you mark.
Well, at that point, because I've told you this before, I thought Goldberg was lame. And I was just like, okay, I'm over the NWO thing at this point. And it's fine, because the Attitude Era was great. And, you know, eventually you went back to WCW, but it was like, okay, all the commercials are on.
I'm just gonna say this just real quick. If you didn't go to a high school that banned NWO shirts because they thought that it was gang related, like you went to a faggy school. Like there's really just no other way of putting it. You do not live. Let's put it that way. Orange Hat, Leslie Tarkin saw. Oh yeah, I saw that well video too. Who else do we have here? Kenny P.
Schools.
I'm pretty sure you did. You're old enough. Rooftop Korean says that Rumble Rose's jiggle figures were. Yeah, exactly right. All right, then. So let's go ahead and get into the topic of tonight's show, because we're going to go the first hour here going pretty hard on politics, because that's pretty much what anyone's really talking about right now is everything that has happened in our country in the last 2 weeks. Now, in order for me to make sense of anything we're about to talk about, let's rewind about a week and a half ago up to this point. About 10 days ago, here or there, someone tried to kill Donald Trump. He was at a rally. They took a shot at him. They hit him in the ear, narrowly missed his head, nearly missed killing him on live television. But he survived. And then ever since then, there has been a hilarious account of complete and total failure from our Secret Service that day. Everything from people seeing this guy at least 30 minutes before he took the shot, to multiple Secret Service men on camera actively not doing anything, even though they see the guy. Like, it wasn't like he was hiding anywhere, like they couldn't find him. He was like literally on the roof on the building across the street. A bunch of female completely inequipped Secret Service agents, to the point where it was at the point you can argue maybe they were in on it, maybe it was an inside job, maybe it was a setup, and those things are flying around here. When that happened, that led to kind of a snowball effect, because now what we're hearing is that Trump survived. He did the RNC. Hulk Hogan did a huge speech for him, and then got everyone going back to like Hulkamania 84. So then the Democrats were like, oh crap, this is bad for us, because people are rallying around Trump because he got shot. He has sympathy now. So what we're going to do? Joe Biden has COVID. So Joe Biden had COVID. He literally put on Twitter, I'm sick, and then just disappeared for like 6 days. No one heard from him. And then somewhere on Sunday, he announced, hey, I'm stepping out of the 2024 race. I'm not going to be running. I'm out. It's been a great 4 years, even though I won 81 million votes in the last election against the same guy that I'm going up against this time around, but somehow now I can't win. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the fact that we didn't shut down the country this time around, so it's harder to cheat. Who knows? And then, of course, a few hours after that, Kamala Harris announced that she was going to be the nominee for 2024 now. So now it's everyone's all in on President Harris. We don't know who our VIP our VP pick is just yet, even though that's kind of like weird and whatnot, but we'll get to that later on here too. So here's where we're at right now. Biden had a terrible performance at the debate, to the point where now everyone knows that he's basically brain mush, that they can't even hide it or lie about it anymore. We'll get to you in a second. To the point where everyone knows that he's basically brain mush. Someone tried to kill Trump as a result of that. That failed, and then within 8 days after the failed assassination attempt of Trump, Biden stepped down out of the 2024 election. Oh, by the way, the Secret Service lady just happened to step down too. Completely unrelated, I'm sure. And now we have President Kamala Harris for 2020, and maybe she'll pick a running mate, like, I don't know, Oprah or Michelle Obama or Hillary Clinton, and we'll get to her later on here. But I'm gonna go ahead and start off with you, Joe. Why did you decide to quit the 2024 election? Why did you do that? Why did you?
I got Pokemon catch. I fell behind. I got a wicked backlog of gunpowder I gotta build. Who's got time to run a country? Look, my score fell so far on Pokemon Go the last 4 years. It's ridiculous. Look, my character hasn't been working out. He got all fat and womanly.
So you're saying that you didn't have time to Pokemon Go to the polls?
I hate you.
That's a real line for folks that we're in trouble. But yeah, so Biden is out, and there's been a conspiracy here over the last several days that Biden might actually be dead. Now, I will say this, to be fair, the people pushing this conspiracy online are people like Laura Loomer and Charlie Kirk, which, let's be honest, they don't know shit. So I mean, you gotta have to take it from a little bit of a grain of salt when it comes to them. But it is highly suspicious that we hadn't seen anything of Biden in the last 6 days, and it just so happens his only announcement of "I'm quitting" came on his social media accounts that we have know for 100% he does not actually run. So when he was gone, and when he just said, "Oh, I'm sick, I got COVID," it was like, well, what's happening here? We're gonna hear a story in the next couple of days that the Biden just all of a sudden just ended up dead, and all of a sudden there was this conference that Harris gave. We'll play a little bit of video of that here in a second about Biden allegedly called in and gave her the thumbs up to go be president of the United States, and we'll ask the question whether that was actually Biden here or not. But Orange, I want to start off with you, then I'll hit back with the Rob here for a second. What are your thoughts on Joe Biden officially dropping out of the 2024 election, and why do you think that he actually dropped out?
Well, I think it's painfully obvious why he dropped out. It's health related. Excuse me. Funny thing, I usually keep my mom apprised on news like that, and she was taking a shower when the news dropped, so I didn't go in to tell her, and because I'm a gentleman, and so she comes out after she checks her phone, and she's like, "What the fuck did you tell me? What the fuck is the matter with you?" And all that shit. It's like, what the hell did I do? She's like, "You didn't tell her that Joe Biden dropped out of a race." It's like, well, you were taking a shower. She was doing it just to fuck with me and whatnot. And so it's all good. But it was quite hilarious when I found out, because it's 16 minutes after the breaking news bit. But yeah, Joe, he's been sick. He's been decrepit. We've all known he was decrepit back in 2019 when he was actually running or announcing that he was going to run against him. And then 2020, he's only slowly getting worse and worse and worse and worse until he can't even freaking say a single word without tripping over it. I mean, American can be called, or can be defined in one word. And I
was gonna say corn pop.
Yeah, I still don't know what the fuck he was trying to say that day.
Is he here right now?
He's a bad dude.
Yeah,
he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
Are we ever gonna get a photo, a real photo of Joe Biden and corn pop, circle 1963 or something like that?
Do you ever see the movie Bloodsport?
Yep.
It's like that.
It was remade as The Quest. And Lionheart too. It's the same movie. Bloodsport, Lionheart, The Quest, Jean-Claude Van Damme in the same movie 3 times.
Love Bug 3, same thing. Yeah,
not really.
True.
No.
So
No.
I think that just in general, how Biden has been handled has been, we haven't seen him for long stretches of time. So I just want to point that out, that just trying to hide his deficiencies mentally, his cognitive abilities being affected really since 2020, if not before then.
Yeah,
I think that they've done a pretty, they've tried to hide him for his presidency in that regard. But I had to be like, okay, we haven't seen him since he made this announcement. We didn't even see him on camera make this announcement. It was a written letter, you know what I mean? And so the fact that that's all we had seen, I think it's relatively reasonable to question what's going on. We saw him today, get out of the motorcade or whatever, return to Washington D.C. People say that there are masks, or that he's got a body double, or whatever. I don't know. I think this has been a long time coming. Joe Biden dropping out of the presidential race. Look, my parents who voted for him in 2020 were like, yeah, he needs to drop out, and they were saying that they noticed cognitive decline 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can like Joe Biden, you can think he's a decent candidate, whatever. I am in neither of those camps, but I can understand it. And so it's like, okay, he's getting out, whatever. They're going to throw support behind Kamala Harris. Okay. But even now, even knowing that he's a corrupt politician, all these things, I still kind of feel bad for the man, just because he does not have his full faculties. He's not all there. And so it's not like, okay, on some level, maybe he is still making the decision to be president and to be involved in all these things. okay, maybe you don't feel bad. But just being at a sort of dilapidated state, being at a reduced state of understanding, it just feels like elder abuse. And I've said that, I think, for a few years now. So it is what it is. He's out of the race. Kamala Harris is a joke of a candidate. I know we're going to get to her, but we'll see what happens going forward.
I was waiting for Joe input there. But
What are we talking about?
exactly. Here's the thing, right? Because I guess we have to look at it from one aspect. Just looking at it from Joe just simply dropping out. What this has really shown me over the last couple of days is that it really exposes just how completely in the dark, oblivious, and really just completely controlled the left is at this point, because we mentioned this a couple weeks back when this whole thing started after the debates, and Biden did such a horrible job at the debate. It exposed to the entire world just how bad off he truly was, and you could tell that it wasn't until that debate really where people are like, dude, I don't think Joe is fit to run the country. Now, when we've been saying this for the last 4 years, before we got to this point, anyone who dared question Joe Biden's mental fitness was called a conspiracy theorist, a right-wing nut job. They were censored on social media when they had control of the social media back then. You weren't even allowed to insinuate. So there's been people saying for the last couple of months now, it's like, oh yeah, Joe, I don't think he can run anymore. I think his time has passed. It's like, where the hell were you 5 years ago when we were all pointing this out? It's not like Joe Biden's brain just completely turned into mush over the last 60 days. It's been like this for years. He was struggling during the debates in 2020. So how did you watch the 2020 debates and come off with the realization that he was fine, and then all of a sudden it's not one debate from 2024 be like, oh no, he's not fine. It's like, he hasn't been fine forever. Like, have you not seen?
I didn't know where the hell I was in 2009 either.
The White House, Joe.
Shit.
Was he though?
Maybe not.
But it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, so everyone saw the debate performance, and now people are trying to spin this like, oh, well, the media has always talked about, Joe Biden not being, mentally there. And then they have to cite some Associated Press article that just came out in May of this year talking about, oh, see, the media is always, no, you haven't. And the reason why I know they haven't, because you only just now figured out that Joe Biden is not fit to be president of the United States. And there's still people out there. This is another thing that absolutely just blows my mind here too for a second. It's like these people are sitting here. You remember the whole I think 2008 version of the centrist, that one who always told you, oh, well, I'm independent, I'm center on a lot of issues, but they just so happen to vote Democrat in every single election. They just so happen to fight for every single Democratic candidate, but when you call them out, oh, I'm right down the center. I didn't even know they still made people like you, right? I didn't even know people out there that still existed. Raj Giri. Look, I like Raj. I think he's a good dude for the most part, but it's dude, wake up to what's going on. This is a man who admitted to spending $19,000 last year on Taylor Swift tickets. I don't think that you're the person who has to pulse on how economically well people are doing right now. It's we have this argument about inflation and kind of the whole status of the country, and he was like, oh, well, the reason why inflation went up is because COVID shut everything down. It's no, the reason why inflation is up and still up to this day is because we ended up printing about 40% of our entire money supply in 2 years, and it blew up our money in quite a way, because people were saying a few years ago, well, don't worry, inflation's transitory, it's not going to last forever. And then now people are going to the grocery store realizing that their grocery bill is up 50% from where it was a few years ago, and nobody knows what happened. So I think the most surprising thing to me is that despite all of the press conferences, all of, there's been 4 years worth of video where Joe Biden looks lost. He doesn't know where he is. He's pooping his pants. He's staring off into the distance. He's kissing a woman who's not his wife. His wife, Jill, has to literally hold him around
that wasn't an accident.
The pooping of the pants, that wasn't an accident?
No, the kissing. I did the pooping on purpose.
Okay, just make sure that I don't want to give you misinformation here, but But it's like this has been out for several years, and people are only just now coming to this conclusion. I'm just like, how blind are some of you people? But then again, I think that 2020, even outside the election, just the whole situation with COVID, just really just exposed how blinded and how propagandized all these people truly are. It's like if you haven't woken up to the state of our country now, after everything that we've seen over the last 4 years alone, like I don't think there's ever a day that some of these people are going to wake up. I think they're just going to completely be blinded all the way.
We have a lot of other things to cover here, but I look to Dr. Sherwood. Are we moving?
Joe Biden, wake up. Joe Biden, wake up. 9/11.
One of the things that I strongly believe is
Joe Biden, wake up.
I should probably go home.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Joe Biden, wake up.
Joe. I'm tired.
Joe Biden,
What's happening?
Joe Biden, 9/11.
What's happening? Joe. Hello, Mr. President. Wake up.
You should have to pay nearly $60.
Yes. That is the legacy of Joe Biden. I don't know how anyone could not have seen a sign that maybe something was wrong here, but this is where we start getting into kind of, the questions regarding where's Joe Biden's whereabouts has been over the last several days. 'Cause like I said, he announced that he had COVID, or somebody on his staff announced that he had COVID a few days ago. I think it was like literally days after the whole Trump assassination RNC thing. All of a sudden he gets COVID, he just disappears. Nobody sees him for a while. Then, like I said, the notice goes out there that, he's standing down from the election, even despite the fact that the days leading up to that, he was saying, I'm not dropping out. I'm going to stay in this. I'm getting ready for the next debate. I'm going back out there. All of a sudden, nope, you're out. He's back away. So there is rumors from people, let's be very clear, some shady sources out there, but there was rumors like, hey, look, Joe is in the hospital right now. He may be on death's door. He may not be on death's door. Maybe he's being hidden. Something's going on with Joe. And then this is where I wanted Cider to come in here for a second. So if we can put Joe away for just a couple of minutes. I do want to speak to Cider if we can.
I knew it was Cider.
I knew he had infiltrated.
We summon Cider.
It's always me.
You should have just went with the "It's me, Austin. It was me." But so here's the thing. Kamala Harris, as you know, she is the now the nominee for the Democrats. She got all the delegates, even though no one cast a single vote. But she's now the nominee. And then there was this conference that she did yesterday where she allegedly spoke with Joe Biden over the phone. There was a little Freudian slip that she had here saying that it was a recording instead of, obviously him being live on the phone. And then you hear him and it's kind of weird because it sounds like Biden, but obviously there's some kind of delay. So it's like he's not really responding directly to the things that she's saying. And the whole thing came off as very stagey. Let's just put it that way. Here's a quick little clip of what happened yesterday with the Kamala Harris thing.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does. I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
But by the way, another thing that really irks me about her is like you can tell like the awkwardness in just her body language, as if she knows that something is not right here, but her facial expression is that she has to go along with it because she'll probably get shot next. And if she doesn't, so here's the thing. People were arguing about whether this was actually Joe Biden, like on the phone, was it his voice? Because here's something that you guys... Here's something that you guys have known just by watching this show over the last, several months to several years. With the capabilities that AI has advanced with over the last couple of years here, we now know for a fact that if you use AI in the right way, you get enough audio samples or whatnot, you can basically replicate any celebrity's voice perfectly to a T now, right? Like we've done it here on their own show. We've replicated the voices like Scarlett Johansson and Brie Larson and what's her name, Elizabeth Olsen and stuff like that. And then, as you can see here, Cider has the capability just on his little, and I'm not taking a shot at Cider here, but his little rinky-dink setup where he can basically sound exactly like Joe Biden in real time using his own voice. So he can make it seem like, if he really wanted to, that he can basically pretend to be Joe Biden the entire show.
The blacks are nice to me.
Exactly, right? So here's the legitimate question. I want to shoot this one over to Cider, We know that at some point in time, AI was going to be used for something nefarious, right? I think the introduction was that, oh, look at all these cool things you could do with AI. That's always how these things kind of start off. But let's be honest here. If people like you and me have this type of technology, then obviously the government clearly has this type of technology as well. So is it possible that they essentially could have AI Joe Biden's voice either live time like you have done or just pre-recorded something and made it sound like it was him to give the illusion that, hey, everything's all okay and Joe's completely fine, even if it may not actually be the truth?
So because some of the examples I have are copyright protected, I can't show you. But you can go online and you can go over to YouTube right now and you can search voice replicator technology, real-time voice replicator technology. What I use is a program that's it's an all-in-one soundboard voice changer, and it's not just limited to just political ones. I can put through all kinds of different ones. It's what I use to make trailers and stuff like that. It makes me sound all neat and stuff. So what this does, though, is that it is unstable. As you can hear, because Biden is mushmouth anyway, the AI tripping over how I'm talking sounds natural. Sounds like him trying to fight his way through a sentence, like a cat in a wet paper bag. So he'll get through it. It'll just take him a minute. But the AI works much better when you have a stable base to work from. And so on my channel, I'm not trying to direct anybody over there, but on my channel, I have a recording of myself, the GTA 6 song, like GTA trailer song, the Love is a Long Road, that song. And so I hired a guy on Fiverr for $5 to remap my voice over the top of that singer. And naturally, I can't play that song for you because you'll get a copyright claim, so it's not worth it. But it is my voice that has been mapped over the lead singer of that song. So he hit the same pitch he does. I match his tone. It's just my voice strapped over the top of his. So likely what could have happened with this, right? So the likely way they could have used this is beforehand, someone who is used to using Joe's vernacular, right, could have recorded themselves speaking like him, then had audio of him mapped over their audio, which makes Joe say what they said. Now, I do want to point out he has various body doubles as well. And I can't imagine the body doubles don't sound like him. That's way too big of a risk for the government to take. So this is what I want to point out, is that it's more logical that the guy you saw get out of a car is a body double. We were told Joe has COVID. And in 2 days, he kicked it, and he's walking around as an 80-something-year-old man. He's just trucking around. He had COVID 2 days ago. And we're told COVID kills, okay? Especially people his age.
With pre-existing health conditions, too.
Yeah, and he is a pre-existing health condition.
Yep. And then we'll get to the Biden brother thing here too. But so this was the video that came out a few hours ago, and this is literally the only footage of Joe Biden out and alive that we've seen quite literally in the last 6 days here. So this is supposed to be kind of the sign of life that, hey, Joe's fine, everyone. Stop saying he's dead, because he's totally not dead. And he had to walk out obviously with his COVID mask, because you guys have to remember that, hey, he had COVID or has COVID, or I don't think they ever confirmed whether he actually no longer has COVID.
Why does it look like he has a gut?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks.
He's old. It's hard to work off those calories.
He had a punch going. But a fun thing going about the whole AI thing. AI specialists came out and said they're 98% that call was done with AI.
Yeah, like I said, that there's multiple ways there's multiple ways that they can pull that off with AI. Like I said, you could just simply voice match somebody's stuff. Like I'm pretty sure you guys have seen a lot of YouTube scams do this, like in commercials where you've heard like Elon's voice or Joe Rogan's voice or like, The Rock or somebody like that, where they basically just like map
Elon
up.
Musk letting you know that if you scan the QR code right in front of you right now, you can get access to all this cryptocurrency that we have in a wallet right now, but you have to scan the crypto code right in front of you. I'm Elon Musk, please believe me. And it's very flat and monotone and quick.
Or it'd be like, hey, this is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm just letting you know that the government is hiding a $6,000 check. All you have to do is call this number and they'll just give you free money. It's like, and people somehow fall for that. But like I said, you play the
brother. I just want to let you know, brother, that it is free real estate. That's right. Public parking lots are free real estate, brother. You can just set up a tent there. Nobody can stop you. Hulkamania's running wild in those parking lots, brother. I'll see you there.
Yeah, so we know that they have the capability to manipulate this if they wanted to. And then we also know for a fact that Joe Biden has multiple body doubles. There's literally videos on Twitter right now you can go watch where people have literally caught a handful of Biden's body doubles thinking that it was him, and it turns out it actually wasn't really
one
him.
Right here.
Yeah. Oh, I think
okay, but like, and I don't listen. I respect that you've put time into this and to look into, but how do you determine? You know what I mean? That he has a body double. Like, you know what I mean?
Watch the police break off from this guy when he gets caught. Right now, he's got a police escort. So watch this. See the police in front of him? This guy walking is the double. He's got a mask on, and these two in front of him are police. Watch what happens when they discover he's a double. Boom! They immediately, as soon as she says body double, they pivot and exit the scene. They're gone, and he's free to walk by himself. There it is, right there. As soon as you spot the body double, they bail, and it's gone. He's just a dude in a parking lot now.
It's like, Drat, we got the wrong one.
Yep, I'll mute it, and you can watch them. And they just, as soon as she says body double, bang, they're gone. Right on their heel. That guy was mid-step and he turned.
One quick thing. One quick thing. It's also suspicious too because let's be honest, the active president of the United States is never escorted by just legit cops. Like they're always so there's multiple like red flags here with this.
Look,
right?
I think you can establish that this might be a body double. I don't believe it, but I think the fact that he's remarkably agile instead of just kind of Mr. Burns like moving around unaware where he's going, like he's about to do like Saturday Night Fever there. So,
yeah, this guy clearly didn't put in the work to like understand like Joe Biden's like glazing until like daydreaming stare. Where he just kind of nods off for like 3 minutes and then realizes where he's at, and then he's like goes and walks around like that takes work.
Really, I don't know. That would be a point of pride that, I'm a body double, because people think I'm an 81-year-old senile, but
waste of DNA. Yeah,
an acting job is an acting job.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true. Though again, remember, of what was it, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were told how he was in private always like able to bench press 500 pounds and could quote de Tocqueville in French and was making the junior staffers run ragged, and they couldn't, these people who were younger than even you guys couldn't keep up with him. That's what we were told. Remember? I remember
back in 2020 when he threatened that guy who basically brought up his son, and he was just like, hey, listen here, fat. And he was basically like asking him if he wanted to step outside. It was just like, Joe, you couldn't step outside with anybody.
So no, I mean, why does he need a body double when he's able to like bench press and like do like 500 pull-ups in 2 minutes?
I understand the president needs security to divert attention, or like, you know what I mean? There's just shit.
An assassination attempt.
Something, but no. But seriously, like there are things like that. But this is weird. Like that's the first time I'm seeing a video like that where it's just like, okay, there's something off here.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't give a damn if it was just a guy walking across the parking lot that looked like Biden. That would be an impersonator that someone has rebranded the video. But the fact there are badged police walking with him, and they're carrying guns. Those aren't cops in costume. No, they're carrying guns. As soon as she says body double, mid-stride, they exit stage right. And it is amazing how that guy just becomes a dude in a parking lot immediately.
They just become, they really go all out when it comes to impersonator. They got to hire the guards, and it's amazing. They made
bar mitzvah was lit.
They made a whole movie about one of Saddam Hussein's sons and his body double. And that's all I could think of now, because Saddam Hussein had a lot of body doubles.
I'm just going to say
the devil's double. The devil's double.
I would love to see a movie come out that's like White Chicks, where like one of the Wayans brothers is playing the body double of this white president, and he has to practice talking like him.
Well, again,
we
had Dave with where you kind of had the president look-alike who steps in for the president when he gets like a stroke or something. Or
you also had Weekend at Biden's.
No, you didn't.
Or whatever.
But you had a movie called Bullworth. That's a movie to check out when like you don't adhere to the two-party system and you're a candidate who's about to be elected for president. What happens to you? But yeah, no. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
If you haven't seen Death of Stalin, we're living through it right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's a Death of Stalin. Death of Stalin followed by Veep.
So I will say this
Veep
too.
Was about Sarah Palin and how stupid she was.
Yep.
And look what we ended up.
So I'll say this too, because this is something that I always think about, like as well, especially with movies, because obviously we're all movie guys. We watch a lot of movies, but movies like to present like state-of-the-art technology as if it's some kind of like, oh, it's just all like part of like the show, all part of the gag, right? But they don't ever want you to know it's like, okay, well, what if they actually do have this technology and we're just pretending like this technology is fake? A perfect example of this would be something like, let's say, Mission Impossible, right? The last few Mission Impossible movies, they've shown that they've had technology, quote unquote, to essentially make a mask of somebody's face in like a real time that you can almost like can't really tell if that's like the real person or not. Now, understanding that yes, a lot of that is in fact movie magic, but let's ask the question. Let's pretend for a second that the government actually does have that capability to make essentially a skin mask out of someone that makes it seem like that they're the real person, right? You can pretty much impersonate anyone for that matter for what any varying reason that you can think of, right?
Okay,
and like I said,
hold on.
Go ahead.
No, the Batman's penguin when they dressed up. What's his face there? Colin
Farrell.
Oh yeah, Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
He becomes an entirely different human being with a fat suit and a little bit of latex on his face. That's all it takes. Humans are notoriously easy to fool. It's the problem with the eyes. When you fake the eyes, that's when we get into the uncanny valley part. Everything else, if you can make it match, we don't care. It's the eyes you can't fake.
I mean, it reminds me of The Prestige, one of my favorite movies, where it's like you want to be fooled. You don't want to know the answer. You don't want you don't want to see the
you don't want to know
facade.
There's a warehouse of Hugh Jackman's drowned to death, just
That's right.
hanging out somewhere.
You just like being entertained. You like the show. You like whatever. But yeah, it's I love that idea.
All of these machinations to get rid of dear Uncle Joe, the kindest, wisest, greatest, most decent POTUS we've ever had. Yes, I mean,
that's the other thing too. Like, let's be very clear about this. So, because in order to not be a conspiracy theorist, you have to believe all of this is true. Joe Biden, who 4 years ago received the most votes of any presidential candidate in the history of the United States of America, 81 million votes, is going into an election in 2024 against the same guy he just beat 4 years ago with the most votes in American history. But now all of a sudden, everyone's freaking out because, oh my God, he can't beat this guy. Well, what changed? It's the same guy, and apparently what you guys have been telling us is that everything in this country is going great. Like, Joe Biden is one of the best presidents that we've ever had. I've had several people tell me that when he made that announcement that he was stepping down, right? So then we have to ask ourselves the question, okay, so we're all supposed to believe that, like I said, a week and a half ago, someone tried to kill Donald Trump. And in the fallout of the Donald Trump, we saw a multitude of videos from people all around the scene showing a complete failure to borderline sabotage of the Secret Service. And in the course of 8 days after that assassination attempt, the sitting president of the United States drops out of the 2024 race via Twitter. And then the Secret Service director also resigns as well. Not admitting any wrongdoing, just admitting that, oh yeah, there was a gross failure of the Secret Service on that one day that we almost killed Donald Trump, right? And then she just goes off to the distance. We've had a lot of shakeups with the intelligence agencies over the course of the last couple of days here too. And now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that none of that is related in any way, shape, or form. Now we just have to prepare for President Kamala Harris, who I believe is giving a speech right now. We'll play a little bit of that here in a second. But before I go in any further here, what is just your general sum of thoughts of everything that's happened here in the last week and a half? Like I said, I just can't sit here and believe anymore that all of this stuff is just a coincidence, especially with the way that it's all rolled out over the last few days. It sounds like something pretty sinister is happening behind closed doors with our country right now, and they're trying to cool everyone into thinking that everything's okay when everything is clearly not okay.
This is normal. What are you talking about? It's
All
very
right.
normal.
Now it's simple. Sometimes the best answer is the simplest one. Joe Biden was pushed out in essentially a I don't want to say palace coup.
Unceremoniously.
Yes, because he was not just dragging his chances down; he was dragging all the other down ballot votes. They could lose the Senate. They might lose the House by a larger percentage, because you couldn't hide the fact that he was a senile old man. And I've been saying that for years. He could have retired after the midterm and said, you know what, I thank you. I'm going to go ahead and just go quietly, open up the convention. No, at the end of the day, Joe Biden is a narcissist. He's always been dumb. He's pompous. He's not a decent man. I'm tired of all these people who keep telling me, oh, he's such a decent man. And he was doing like Cincinnatus. He was going to give up power when he was able to achieve it. No, he was not. He was going to lose. He was going to lose, and probably by a larger margin, because people saw that he was senile. And despite the Biden boom, a lot of people are still struggling. That's why he was pushed out. And he had to do it in a tweet or like a statement. This is not LBJ. LBJ quit before the primary started, allowing the open convention. Now we're having a replacement. We're substituting dear Uncle Joe for Queen Kamala, and she's going to win. It's going to be massive. Why? Well, why is she going to win? So what's happened? The Democrats panicked. They threw Uncle Joe under the bus. And they're throwing their lot in.
Name on the side of it.
They're going to throw in with Maya Rudolph, and she's going to ride victory. Oh my God! And the press is going to keep pumping her, and they're going to keep insisting that she's this great queen. And okay, that's not okay. Okay, no.
Do you think the CIA called Maya Rudolph and be like, "Hey, guess who's going to be working on Saturday Night Live for the entire fall?"
Hey, I don't mind. I like Maya Rudolph.
But even what's so funny about that, by the way, just real quick, that whole SNL thing, like that was mocking Kamala Harris. Like the idea that there was some celebration of her brash, bratty demeanor, which is, I guess, a term she's using now. It's just like, oh God, so you're just an insufferable professional woman is your whole identity. Okay.
Insufferable. Just lose the professional part. She's just an insufferable woman.
You know what I mean, though. She's wearing a power suit.
You're right.
My thoughts to sum this whole bit up. Look, I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan, because movies are more in my wheelhouse, folks. If you're a Star Wars fan, look at the politics of the prequel trilogy. How they freaking mired Valorum into corruption, and then booted him out when he was no longer necessary to have in. Then installed Palpatine through a sympathy vote, and now Palpatine didn't give up his power. I guarantee you, when it comes to what's going on with Kamala Harris, and how they just literally killed democracy. The Democrats killed democracy, folks. Imagine that. She didn't receive one primary vote. She didn't receive any votes, period, as long as she's been running for office. And yet she's the nominee. So yeah.
Not only that, like I said, this
democracy here.
Now that this was about 20 minutes ago, she's on the campaign trail. So we're now at the point now where we're seeing a lot more of the vice president than we are the actual commander in chief at the moment. But here's Kamala Harris at a rally doing her typical Democrat shtick.
We who believe that every person in our nation who should have the freedom to live safe from the terror of gun violence.
Gun violence. Gun violence.
Will finally
I like how she says it. Gun violence.
flag laws, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban.
And that's why she won't be elected.
But
Just violated 2A.
Nope, she's gonna sweep into
And
power.
we who believe in reproductive freedom.
And you've
Whatever
never
the
had
hell
children
that means.
yourself.
I can almost hear the insufferable white women in the crowd. Like I can almost see them just by their sounds.
Stop Donald Trump's extreme abortion ban.
Yes, extreme abortion ban. And here's where we are here at the moment. So Kamala Harris, and everyone's going all in on her now. Hollywood donated something about like $85 million to her campaign ever since Joe dropped out. The DNC is all in on her. You saw Hillary Clinton supported her as well. So she's going to be the presidential nominee, whether anyone likes it or not. Now, the question is that who's going to be her running mate? Because if she picks somebody like, well, I mean, let's be very, very clear. She's not picking anyone. But if her running mate just so happens to be someone like Hillary Clinton and it's a Harris Clinton ticket, it's like Harris is basically just like counting down the days when she unceremoniously dies in her sleep and then we'll get President Hillary. So I don't think that's a wise pick there, but people have thrown out other names that maybe she'll go with Newsom. Maybe she'll throw a curveball and go with some celebrity, like I said, Michelle Obama or Oprah or something like that. Because like I said, at this point, there's just a lot of people who are just going to vote Democrat no matter what. So I don't think it objectively matters. But we do have to be very, very clear here. This is a woman who's not even liked by her own party. I think AOC, there was a video from like last week or something like that, where AOC basically said that nobody really likes Kamala Harris, even inside her own DNC, which is objectively true. Let's be honest. She ran as a candidate in 2020, got absolutely no portion of the vote, got absolutely destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard and killed her entire run in one speech. Then she backdoored her way into the vice president seat because they needed diversity, right? And now she's here running for president of the United States. And then, like I said, she has so many problems within her own party who clearly don't like her. She just gives off the vibe of a generally insufferable person to be around. So that's not going to help any matters here. Every single childhood photo that I've seen of her, she looks like a Bollywood movie star, but everyone claims that she's black. So it's like, okay, you got that whole thing going on. So what is everyone's thoughts about Kamala Harris becoming president of the United States? I'll start for Orange and we'll just make our way down real quick.
I think she's a fucking tyrant. She is a goddamn tyrant. What she just said there is why Beto O'Rourke never fucking won the thing either. Oh, yes, we're going to take your case. Oh, yes. You are
in
campaigning
Texas
on violating the fucking... You are campaigning on violating the Constitution. You're not winning the election. That's my thoughts on this fucking whore.
Mm-hmm. So Delvin was saying that apparently that was from earlier this afternoon. Okay, I'm only just seeing videos of it now, so I thought this was like a speech she gave like maybe 30 minutes ago or something like that. But bullshit.
Yeah,
Shapiro and Kelly, like good luck with those two options.
Look, Kamala Harris has not changed from the person that she was when she was running for the 2020 primary. She's an idiot. She can't defend any of her positions. They go against where the Democratic Party finds themselves, trying to gain the support of a bunch of, let's just face it, anti-Semites and angry leftists, blue-haired weirdos. But yeah, I mean, whatever. You have your tokenist candidate that doesn't believe in anything, who is every bit the description of Selena Meyer from Veep, just an airheaded fucking moron. Sorry. Just an idiot, just a complete.
She's not here right now. It's okay
waste
to talk
of space. Yeah, I know the monetization thing is more of the.
Yeah, these shows never get
Anyway,
monetized.
it's
I don't
fine.
care about that.
but so yeah, she's just. I mean, there are a lot of candidates the Democrats could go with ultimately, but he might be one of the worst choices. And I've said this before. I know elections get tight, so maybe this will go out the window. I can't see this woman getting more than 40% of the vote. But again, I know how elections are. It's like, it comes down to sides and tribalism and not really who's the better candidate ultimately, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, this is just like you wanted to have a candidate that took away from the hysteria and the clown show that Donald Trump is. I mean, this woman is a laughable politician. Like, she's bad at the things the politician, like lying and, faking it, and just she's bad. She's the worst at this stuff. She comes off completely fake, disingenuous, even to liberals, even the people that should want to vote for her. She comes off as a complete clown show. So I don't really see how the Democrats spin this into something positive. They're talking about she raised $200 million. Yeah, because the donors held back money from Biden. So it's all the money that they were giving to Joe Biden, and now she made this huge haul. It's like that's the donors said they weren't giving any more money to Biden. That's all it is. So
Roberto, the spin is that she is a strong black woman. So
she's not even black.
She's not black.
Well, apparently no, she is now. She is now. Now, I do believe that Kamala Harris will actually win.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, and she will win Kamala because her laugh is very bizarre and
iconic.
I will say that Cider will actually cast that random main vote for Donald Trump, but everywhere else it's all Kamala all the time. I think it's kind of sad that the Democrats could not open up the convention and just have someone. Instead, they throw Dear Uncle Joe out, and they said, okay, we're going to rally around Kamala, who hasn't really. I don't know what she had point to say. Yes, I deserve to be president. The border, that was supposed to be in charge of it. I almost ran someone down. So, Vice President Harris, I'd be happy to talk to you about the time I almost killed someone because you couldn't go to the border, or apparently you couldn't go to Europe either. She's a choice. She was crowned. Let's just put it this way: she was selected. She was not elected, and we're going to try to spin this.
Good idea.
Yeah, they're going to try to spin this as some sort of historic election because it's a. It's interesting.
It's a black woman.
It's interesting.
Black woman.
The last two minus Dear Uncle Joe, you had the black man, Barack Obama, and you had the woman, Hillary Clinton, and now you've got the black woman, which was Kamala. So they just seem to pick people
this is the
based on exterior
Dragon Ball Z fusion dance.
They're just trying to pick people based not on actual qualifications, but on appearances.
Yep. Identity politics. This is what Officer Tatum talks about here. This guy's funny as hell, but he's got a great compilation of people who's got some words to say about Kamala.
Oh, yeah.
Before y'all Democrats start trying to play the race card, I want y'all to understand this. Kamala is not black. Her kids is not black. Her husband is not black. She does not come from black culture. So don't tell me I got to support Kamala Harris because she black.
See, he said he said it first. He said it first. Don't get mad at me. He said it.
The race pander from the Democratic Party got to stop. It's really that simple. Thank you for listening.
Man, they got me.
This guy.
I wouldn't dare vote for no black. Now that man, listen, I was raised by black women. I got a grandmother. I got black, but I wouldn't dare put no black woman in no fucking of the White House. The commander-in-chief of the military, a black woman. Not only that, a mixed black married to a white man. Her pH balance is way off with that white. Man, you can't make me believe. Hell no. This Kamala Harris got a white boy. Her pH balance is off, and her mental stability got to be off. Her would have thrown off pH balance unless she's sneaking and now if she's sneaking and then we might can let her be vice president. But there's no way. America, I'd rather for black people to go back to slavery than let a black woman run the country. Don't do it. Say, listen, man, I'm against anything with a black woman running.
It gets better.
You get your ass back in that bedroom and in the kitchen. But the White House, America, we can't do this here now. Hell no. Hell no. I'd rather have a civil war before we let a run this.
I love that. I love that fucking character.
Look.
Hell no, I'm not having another
that's
before we let a bitch run shit.
Yeah, that's Charleston White. Charleston White is notorious for being out of pocket with his comments. So.
Look, you've got right now kind of the euphoria of, oh, isn't this historic? And we have a chance because we're dumping.
And it's not even a real euphoria. It's a completely manufactured aura around this.
It could be. But then once you start the actual campaign, let's say the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, where Rob is going to swing the election. You put those clips of her saying that, oh yeah, I'm going to ban fracking. I don't know how well that will go over in Pennsylvania. You put her criminal not her criminal record, but her record on crime when she's arresting people for smoking marijuana. I have a feeling that Sider's not going to be fond of that. And
well, hold on. It's not going to play well in the areas that Democrats need to do well in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, which are very liberal. And guess what? Liberals don't like, how the criminal justice system is set up, which she was very much a part of. So it's like, what are you doing?
The only thing that you have to offer is the historic nature. Once the election actually continues, we'll see where her ideas, whatever they are, where her policies, whatever they are, how they take place. I'm just wondering, is Willie Brown going to introduce her?
He never endorsed her.
Is he dead?
He never endorsed her.
No, but is he going to go up and speak to her qualities?
Jesus.
On her knees, or
this is actually pretty funny, by the way.
Trump, I got a question. You on your debate the other day, you said illegal immigrants are taking black jobs. What the are black jobs?
The illegal immigrants are being extremely loud on buses. They are all types of stuff that we said this used to be blacks. Remember when this was blacks and we liked it when they were black because they could dance and they were fun. And now the people that are Mexican are not fun.
Oh, Trump. Come on. I'm fun. How dare you?
Oh my God.
The guy does a good job at getting Trump's mannerisms down.
Yeah.
That's all that matters is the mannerisms. If you can get the mannerism and that sharp thing that he does where he breathes through his teeth there mid-sentence, if you can get that down,
it's his cadence. It's him mimicking how Trump talks. I mean, it might be mannerisms, but for me, it's how he talks like Trump.
It's amazing how I hear so many people online say, oh, she's going to destroy Trump in the debate. She couldn't destroy Tulsi Gabbard, all right?
No, exactly. That she was absolute, and I know this because I was a Tulsi Gabbard supporter at the time, and I was waiting for this moment in the debate, and she absolutely fucking crushed her. And she didn't come back from that. She dropped out of the race days
Tulsi
after that.
Gabbard knocked Kamala Harris out of the DNC race that year.
And
Completely knocked her out.
We're supposed to believe that Trump is going to fold against Kamala. And by the way, just real quick, my mom always remembered Joe Biden as that mean old man who kept little Kamala from going to school because she told that story about how he opposed busing. And that's how she always remembered Dear Uncle Joe.
Well, I agree. We should definitely stop Indians from going to school, but that's a whole other situation for another day. Here's what I would say. No. We're talking 7-Eleven Indians, not 9/11.
Be careful. You saw the movie Kill. You know what they could do.
Yeah, I did. So here's my final thought on this whole situation. You guys know from my Bible Lens podcast on Sunday nights, I'm not horribly emotionally invested in this next election. I'm just not obviously I would vote for Trump and I would support Trump, but I'm also not going to delude myself and thinking Trump's going to save us from anything that's coming in the next few years. However, I still look at this election as kind of 50-50 at this point because, of course, right now the momentum is on Trump's side and Kamala Harris is completely unlikable, but we still need to know who's going to be her VP. Maybe that can swing some things in her favor. And let's be honest, JD Vance is kind of a twat, so I don't really trust him too much either to keep Trump afloat. It seems like Trump will probably be doing all the heavy lifting himself. I don't think that he's going to get much help out of his VP. So, and then who knows? It's been a wild week and a half. Who knows what this race is going to look like in 3 months when this is all like said and done. There could be several more assassination attempts, or somebody might drop dead, or nobody actually knows what's going to happen by the time we get to the actual election in November. So all I can say is just buckle up because this stuff's going to get kind of crazy.
Jacob,
so,
I've told you already. Stop voting against your own interest. You have to vote for Kakala. All right.
you know what? And I've
Stop
told
voting
you,
against your interest.
I've told you many times.
Would you please shut the hell up?
I just kind of funny that, like, you know, there have been like these tweets out there. They're like, oh, over 20,000 black men joined the call for Kamala Harris and donated so much money, and it's like, look, all elections come down to personality. I mean, except for maybe really bad times or something, it really comes down to personality. And Trump just reaches more people, you know, outside of the people that just outright hate him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, my mom will never vote for Donald Trump, no matter how bad things get, because she just hates him. But like, there's enough people
Mom's
who
a
are
twat.
like, writing.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's fine. But it's just the writing. It's just the writing on the wall. It's like things have been bad, and when Trump was president, guess what? Things weren't so bad. Things kind of felt like they were relatively on the right track till fucking COVID hit. So, you know, that's what you have to compare it to. Hey, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? You know what I mean? And most people are going to be like, no, I'm fucking doing worse. Hey, groceries are more expensive.
Doing a lot worse.
And even if you don't believe, even if you don't believe that these things can be put at the feet of Joe Biden, which I think they can, you have to just say, okay, well, who ran the country better at the, you know, in their administration? And I'm sorry, but like, as much as I don't really like Donald Trump, listen, I have opened myself up to the possibility of voting for him and of, you know, considering him as a candidate. And look, he is who he is. He hasn't changed one iota. He's a loud, brash, egotistical businessman. That's who he is. And do I think he's full of shit? Yes. Do I think he's a charlatan and kind of a con man? Yeah, I do.
Preach.
I think that there are a lot of things that Trump supporters don't really want to see. However,
we just don't care.
No. And I'm not even talking about anybody here, but just, you know, that the sort of like, he's going to be our savior kind of people. It's like, look, he's a politician. He's an ego-driven man. But do I think that he's a better option than the absolute cabal, corrupt pieces of shit that occupy the Democratic Party and frankly, most of the Republican Party? Absolutely. And so if he is my only way to see some semblance of whatever populism or someone speaking for the people, even if it's performative, that's fine. I'll take that because it's the only sort of option for somebody that wants to feel like they've been heard, you know. And I know Rick was like a never Trumper and whatever, but look, this still is politics is compromise. It's disappointing, you know what I mean? But when push comes to shove, I will probably vote for Donald Trump come November, just because it's like, look, he's overcome all of this bullshit. And if I don't believe politics matters anyway, who cares? But like, that's a great story. All the stuff that he had to overcome, the media, fucking COVID, the losing in 2020, just keep that, legitimately, apparently. He dealt with the January 6th bullshit. He dealt with all of the crimes they tried to charge him with, say he was a sexual abuser, etc. Epstein Island, bullshit. All of this stuff when the media wasn't even focused on Joe Biden and his son, you know what I mean? Who was, by the way, facing gun charges. So it's like overcoming all of that. And it's like, you know what, man, I'll vote for him just because anybody that had to go through that, even if he's not the most reputable guy, it's like, you know what? I admire that on some level. When I saw that image of right after he was shot, it was like, if that makes me feel inspired and ready to fight and to a certain level, I know it got, you know what I mean? It resonated with a whole bunch of people. So that's kind of my take on it.
But Rob, insurrection, the greatest threat to democracy, you know, the most dramatic moment in America.
Would you please shut the hell up?
But the Biden boom, we've got the greatest economy. Peace.
One more thing here before we move here. Well, one more thing before we move on here. So, like I said, we'll figure out how this whole thing goes. It's not great. We're not exactly in a great situation here, but like I said, I think that I don't see how Kamala wins by her likability, her personality. And all honesty, I think when they do that debate with Harris and Trump, that her numbers could significantly go down even lower because people are going to realize just what an unlikable bitch she is. And like I said, that's not just us from a right-wing side looking at her. I have to understand people on her own party do not like her for that very same reason. Like you talk about people who don't like Hillary in that party, they like Kamala even less than Hillary, and that's saying something. So everyone, just buckle up because I feel like this thing's going to get a lot more crazier as time goes on here.
Yeah,
But
look, it doesn't depend on the popular vote. It depends on the electoral vote. What states could she win that Joe Biden was losing? What states could she convert?
-0.
I mean, is she going to convert Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania,
Georgia.
North Carolina? Well, Georgia's close to being, Trump. Even though Stacey Abrams was that was real fraud. Now, what states could she win? This is a realistic question. What states could cackle a win that Biden was going to lose? All right, that's the question.
I mean, she might end up losing. Well, it depends on if we get a bunch of 4 a.m. votes like we got last time. I mean, she could probably lose Wisconsin. Michigan was in play last time around. So, yeah.
Pennsylvania killed that option.
It's the Pacific Northwest and California. Basically, the West Coast is the only thing that she secures. Beyond that, nobody gives a damn about the stuff she's talking about.
You want to know something funny, folks? If you want to really sum up this entire election in a handbag, this current election, it's basically Maverick on that very short taxiway in Top Gun Maverick, and it's like, oh, here we go. Holy shit. That's basically it.
I really want to end this show on a strong note by hammering on the whole Kris Tyson story, because we're definitely going to get into that here in a bit. But first, it's movie time. So, quick little rewind here. If you guys remember, it was actually just a little over a year ago today. We did our movie night of Twister, which is actually still on our Rumble page right now. And on that, for the original Twister movie, it was me, Orange Hat, Rob, Rick, and TW who was here with us that night. And then Cider, I guess you can be TW here. So we're actually doing a reverse race swap for once. That's actually progress, right?
Yep.
So
I mean, yuppers. I'm gonna be extra white now, buddy.
Double white. But no, so we talked about this film. We all watched this movie. I think I even told you guys my story. I ended up watching this film when I went to Vegas a couple years ago on the plane. It was literally midnight. I'm flying out to Las Vegas and I'm watching Twisters on the plane in the dark with turbulence. So I don't think there's any better way to watch that film unless you go maybe to 4DX or something like that. But here's the thing. We watched it. It was okay for what it was. You got to kind of remember the time that it came out in. But I don't think there's anything that was in that movie that justified anyone saying, you know what, they should make a sequel to this. They should make another one. Well, they ended up doing exactly that. We have another Twisters. So this movie comes out with, I guess we can now officially call him the new Hollywood It guy. Glenn Powell, because he's now basically in everything, and I know he already has like several other projects lined up too, so he'll end up being like the next Pedro Pascal here in the next couple of years, certainly. But they decided, hey, yeah, well, hopefully he doesn't do that.
Said, I ain't doing Marvel.
He's so dreamy.
It's like, yeah, I think they saw us. Like, I saw what happened to Chris Evans. I ain't doing that shit. But so that they put out $155 million. This is Universal and Warner Brothers coming together once again to
And
be like,
Amblin.
hey,
There were 3 fucking production companies. 3.
is Amblin still a thing?
Yes.
Yep.
I thought they
For the
died.
rated R Disney shit.
But no, I hear what you're saying. It was two major studios and a production company. But the fact that you spread this out from 3 different, production companies, studios, whatever, just tells you where Hollywood is. Even though this movie's going to make a shitload of money. Just saying.
Yeah, because I mean, look, I went to go see this one last week, and there was a lot of people in my theater to the point where it kind of annoyed me. Because here's my thing: I like to sit like kind of in the front. I like to sit in the furthest back on the lower row. That way, I can be away from people. And I bought my ticket. I was like one of 2 people in the row when I bought it. It was me and someone who was like 15 seats away from me, so I can just kind of be off the end by myself. The next thing I know, I had all these people. And I know this is going to sound kind of like some of the jokes that I made earlier tonight, but they were in fact Indian. That has nothing to do. I'm just saying. But all of a sudden, like my entire row was full. I have to like listen to other people's like conversations and have like cell phone flashes in my eyes. Like this is why I like to sit like by myself and move. That's a whole side conversation. But going into this film, you have essentially Glenn Powell and Daisy, Edgar-Jones, who the only other film that I've seen from her is the film, what was it? The something in the Bayou movie that she did a couple years ago. Where the Crawdads Sing.
Sing, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Saw her in that film. She was okay, but I mean, let's put it this way. That movie was not very good. The story, especially the ending, was very, very bad. She's a British actress, and if you guys don't know the little cheat code with British actors, they always go straight for the Southern accent because I guess with their dialect, it's easier for them to pick up a Southern accent than like any other normal American accent. So this is like the second film that she's done where she's trying to do a very, very deep Southern accent. Even though her character is supposed to be from Oklahoma, she sounds like she's from Louisiana, which I don't think she understands. Like, not all Southern accents are exactly the same. Some are a little bit more deep than others, and yours is too deep from where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, Oklahoman accent is different.
Yeah, right. So
every time I hear the state Oklahoma, I'm just thinking about Belzer from Twister. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Every time I hear from Oklahoma, I just think of JR.
By the way, Gordon McRae will be one of the Summer Under the Stars players on Turner Classic Movies.
Is he in Oklahoma or something?
Yes, he
Okay,
was the lead character. In,
I know a lot about movies from that period, and I have no frame of reference to that name. So congratulations. And if I don't, nobody else will.
But he was in Oklahoma. It's
okay.
I've never seen a bad movie. Great soundtrack. But there's attempted rape, attempted murder in Oklahoma. I don't know why people think it's like.
Okay, well that's all you had to tell me. Attempted rape. I'm in.
What the fuck? fuck?
I should have had the.
No,
I was
got
already sold.
There's so many people on Twitter who get upset when I'm like, I like movies about or that have rape in them, and people just get so off put by that. And it's like, what? I happen to like movies that have rape.
And
in
like,
them.
first of all, how many movies have rape in them? It's like, are you just watching Death Wish for a marathon?
70s. Yeah,
All
the
right.
70s
We here
now.
at Orange Hat do not freaking support that shit.
I will
Holy
recommend John,
fuck.
Rob. I'll
movie, it's
recommend
okay.
Johnny Belinda. Johnny Belinda, which won Jane Wyman an Oscar, revolves around a rape victim who's dead. and mute.
Anyway, back to Twisters. We're talking about a movie about tornadoes. Yeah, so she's the star of this movie, and the whole setup here is that her and her college friends were being storm chasers, and she had this whole concoction about creating some kind of like effect that will essentially kill a tornado as it's forming. And she goes out there with her 4 very, very diverse friends, and she activates her little BS mixture machine, and then ends up killing everyone but her. So it turns out instead of dissipating the tornado, it made it 1,000 times stronger and turned into an F5, and everyone died but her. So now she has PTSD because she literally responsible for the death of all of her friends. So even the brown guy here in this film, he's dead. That guy's totally dead.
No, that guy. That's Javi. He's alive.
Oh yeah, Javi. Actually, Javi was
he
like
was further away. He was
Yeah.
not in the same vehicle.
The guy from
And then
Heights, by the way.
the 2 kids here in the back, they also died. This girl looked like the girl who's in like the Ghostbusters movies, like the recent ones.
I
But
thought
it was her.
I kept calling her Harriet Potter because she looked like Harry Potter.
Are you talking about Kiernan Shipka, the girl in the back?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. That's Don Draper's daughter in Mad Men. She was also in Long Legs. She has a pretty good scene there.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
So she's in a couple of things too.
Yeah.
Well, someone else is also in this film is me and Rob's favorite lesbian actor, Katie O'Brien, is also in the movie. However, she doesn't have a big role in the film. She's just kind of like, the cowgirl, like trucker chick who's... so here's the setup here for this film. This is 5 years after she kills all her friends. Javi is now working for like some rich guy who wants her to come down to Oklahoma so she could spot storms and whatnot. And then they meet up Glenn Powell's character, who's basically like a popular YouTuber, who his whole shtick is that he chases tornadoes out here on YouTube. He has yeah, exactly. So he has like was like 1 million subscribers. He goes around there shooting fireworks into tornadoes, because if you have 1 million subscribers, why wouldn't you shoot fireworks into tornadoes, right? That's
and he
something
sells
you would do.
merchandise.
Yeah, but it's for a good cause though. That's the one thing they really wanted to hammer on. He's not as bad as like the other people. And so they go in and they start like chasing storms and whatnot. And then they here's the thing, they tried to build a conflict between these two. But here's the thing, they tried to build a separate antagonist outside of the actual storms, which is very stupid. But the whole concept here is that her team is working for a guy, like a southern billionaire, who after the tornadoes hit and destroy people's homes, he goes there and basically like buys their land for a certain amount of money so they can go relocate somewhere else, and that he takes the land. Now, is it unethical? Yeah, sure, but at the same time, they make a point in the film to say that, well, these people didn't have insurance and they basically lost anything anyway. So, I mean, him giving them money to kind of pick up their lives and move on somewhere else isn't the worst thing in the world, considering the fact that they already had absolutely nothing to begin with going in there. So it's like, that's not exactly a great setup for a villain. And then he just kind of disappears, like after like the second act of the movie, which is just like, then why do we even have this conflict in here to begin with? Like, I kind of justify. A lot of things disappear, but so the whole concept of the film is him and her. He's kind of like the charismatic, like if he was like a weatherman, like a local weatherman, he would be like the cool weatherman, and then she's just kind of like the preppy, know it all.
Those?
They still do. I mean, they're in their 60s to be fair. I mean, they're not like young or anything like that. Like they're that guy that's been on like the local news station for like 30 years, and he's kind of like quirky, and the locals love him, even though he's kind of annoying.
Yep, I know the type.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we know.
We just have
but
fat
Glenn
guys
Powell's
up here.
Glenn Powell's whole thing in this movie is believe in your dreams, little lady. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's like there's a sense of conflict because they have different ways of going about what they do, and they're both good at what they do, and they see something that they can relate to in each other, and you know what I mean. It's very predictable kind of movie stuff. The British producers there following them with these stupid fucking one-liners, and you know, of course he's scared, and it's fine. But the actress who plays what's her face? I can't even remember the character's name. Daisy Edgar-Jones. It's like
Kate. Her character name is Kate.
It's so painfully obvious that she's a British girl attempting like a Southern accent.
Yes.
And like none of the lines, all of her dialogue, I don't believe a single word that comes out of her mouth. And again, I don't know if that's the actor. I don't know if it's just a bad script, but
it's a bad script.
And again, I get that this movie's about CGI tornadoes destroying shit. I completely understand that, but the character work is so piss poor. The script is non-existent. I hated this movie so much. I hated having my time wasted, and the CGI tornadoes not even being good, not being something that was an improvement on Twister.
2 hours plus. And my take is that it was the Tornado Wrangler, Glenn Powell. It was a Tornado Wrangler versus the Tornado Whisperer, because she somehow knew where the tornado was going to go just by the just by the
She's
wind.
a Mary Sue. She's perfect, and she's amazing, and she can do no wrong. And and then she has a breakdown.
She felt
I do have to push back just a little bit. Because we did establish that she did get all of her friends killed in the very beginning of the movie, so she's not quite perfect in that aspect.
Yeah, but none of the
doesn't get the Mary Sue title. Sorry, I'm just
none of the PTSD symptoms are there to make it a credible part of the story, to make it part of the character's background. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, here we're gonna drop it in when it's convenient to.
No, the closest was when they went for the first tornado, and she kept saying, no, you have to move further out. And that allowed the Tornado Wrangler to shoot the fireworks while they were playing Ghost Riders in the Sky. I hated that. I hated that. I hated the use of music to
See, here's the
punctuate
thing.
what goes on.
But here's the problem, Rick. You're a boomer. Like, Zoomers would have absolutely loved that. So you have to remember that.
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the fireworks thing. I'm talking about them playing Ghost Riders in the Sky while they're chasing it. I mean, all the songs here seem to punctuate.
Would you prefer Dancing in the Rain?
No, it's Raining Men. Would have been a much better choice.
No.
And to answer Leslie's question, Rosie O'Donnell was not in this movie, so no.
Oh,
no,
wise choice.
He wasn't in the first one either.
It's just to me, it's lazy. Everything, okay, early on, and maybe Rob will agree with me. So let's find out. Okay, when she first meets the Storm Pack, the Storm Park group, you know how they're introduced. They say, oh well, this guy's from Harvard, this guy's from Yale, this guy's from MIT, NASA, and here's Scott. I said, those other guys, they're going to disappear. They're irrelevant. We never learn their names. And the only person that we need to remember is Scott, who's obviously the villain because he looks down on these hillbillies with a YouTube channel, as he describes the Wranglers. So I just said, you know what? It's not even worth knowing where they are. And did you get the sense that they were going to disappear pretty quickly and just be irrelevant to anything that goes on here?
I mean, all the characters are irrelevant to what goes on here. So yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, there's way too many characters on here. It's like they tried to recreate that same choreography that they had in the first movie, but the problem is that you only followed one team in the first movie. It wasn't like, well, here's this character's team and here's that character's team, and we only have to like sparse airtime for them all, so they'll probably only get like 4 minutes of actual like airtime throughout the entire thing, right? Actually, I don't even think the government would play a big role in this one, surprisingly enough. So
no,
they
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I got to point this out about this whole thing, right? The core of this is that the disaster movie genre in the USA is the kaiju movie genre in Japan.
Yes, very good.
It plays the same role. There's a characterization of the storm. It is a relentless force that cannot be communicated with, and it will not stop. Various types of armaments are used to stop it, but they do not work, and the storm proceeds to destroy until it has its fill and dissipates, aka goes back into the ocean. And that's what the whole ambiance is. So when you stuff that full of characters, you're running into Godzilla 98 again. where the humans are driving the story, not the monster. And that's why those stupid sci-fi ones that Dean Cain basically financed his life through the middle 2000s with. I love these things. This was my like, I don't know how to compare it. It was like my favorite genre of movies when I was a teenager. Just these dumb asylum level destruction movies. Not Sharknado, that was too dumb. But like just back from that, where like the whole planet cracks in half, but somehow everybody survives. That kind of thing. I love the maximum dumb ones. But that's the problem here, is that as you're telling me about this movie, it falls into that same trap that like the first Godzilla, or excuse me, the Godzilla movie that was oh geez.
-1?
Fat Godzilla. No, the fat one.
Zilla.
The one that came to him in 2014. Godzilla 2014.
Oh, Fatzilla. Yeah.
Where it had too much human focus.
He is just big boned.
And so this is where the problem is the storm needed to drive the story. The characters needed to be running from the storm more and less
Running
about
to
their interpersonal drama with the storm.
Well, you could have that kind of disaster movie. That was very popular with like the Poseidon Adventure, Earthquake, Towering Inferno, where you introduced all of these various characters and then you had the disaster. Here, you introduce all these various characters, but you don't really give them much. You just, I mean, honestly, I didn't even remember some of their names. Certainly not the Storm Pack people, and barely any of the Wrangler team people, who I really don't remember any of their names. Like, why do I care? And they're all very one note. They're all very one note. You've got the loud one. You've got kind of like the sassy one. You've got the guy who's just driving and selling the T-shirts. And then we find out that those T-shirts and things, that's just for charity. You see, Tyler is not enriching himself. Far be it for a man with millions of subscribers to enrich himself. He's doing it to finance relief, tornado relief. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not believing any of this.
He's too good of a man. He's like, he's not selling his T-shirts, put it into his own pocket because he has YouTube money.
Even the crew here, even the difference between the crew, where I hate Twister too, the original, but that Twister is so much of a better movie, and the supporting actors had their own identities. You know, Philip Seymour Hoffman, you know, to just the extreme, and like, you know, just the other supporting, like you have a real sense of identity. Even the lesbian, short-haired lesbian chick had her purpose. This movie, even like when they're like, oh, look at the look on Tyler's face after, you know, Kate like one-upped him in conversation outside their motel room or something, you know, and it's like, it's just everything is so one note, and just empty feeling.
Oh no!
And again, it wouldn't matter if the destruction, the storms, all that stuff had a genuine
sense of wonder.
Well, yeah.
So you guys weren't a big fan of this scene here where the tornado hit suddenly at the rodeo and they had to hide inside of an open swimming pool in order to not be sucked up by the tornado?
So
did you kept wondering
how
why
stupid this was?
How did people who live in this area not know that there could be a tornado coming at that time?
Wait a
and
minute.
would not have postponed or canceled the rodeo? I mean,
did you like how obvious it was that a tornado was going to show up because they're going to a rodeo on kind of like not a date, but like, hey, let's get to know each other. Oh, you're really from Oklahoma and not New York? Oh my God. You know what I mean? Everything in this movie is like a beat for Daisy Edgar-Jones's character to sort of be the center, and yet there's not much there. There's not much in her background to really hold on to.
It took an hour for a tornado to be in a movie. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know.
No, there was a few before that, but that was kind of like the big drama scene where it's like, oh, a tornado just struck suddenly.
Hour for the antagonist of the movie to show up. Is that what you're telling me?
No, there was one. I mean, there's a one where they were shooting the fireworks into the tornado to make it look pretty and amazing. And look, I didn't dislike the first Twister. I thought it was just passable, mild entertainment, nothing spectacular. But for some reason, that flying cow thing really hit a nerve. People really were waiting when I went to the theater, and my mom too. They were all waiting for that moment where that cow comes in. There is no flying cow in this movie, metaphorically speaking, or
There are
literally
chickens,
speaking.
They traumatize the Zoomers and alphas. That's animal abuse, even if it's a fake.
Well, there's no great moment. Whenever I was watching any of the explosions, like when they're going through the refinery, I thought this is so distant. This is not exciting. This is very remote and far off. I'm not getting involved in this. At least with a cow, you had kind of a clever, but you had kind of a moment that people remember. I mean, that's what most people remember from Twister, for some weird reason, that flying cow. And I actually think the visual effects were better in the first one than they were here.
Oh yeah, they drove through a house. They drove through a literal house in the first one.
Yeah, but here it just
11
seems
different houses
so.
in order to get that.
Well, with this film, though, it seems like they were trying to take advantage of kind of like, I guess, the upgrade in technology that we've had in storm chasing over the last like 30 years or whatnot. Like some of you guys may remember there was a show on Discovery Channel called Storm Chasers, right? And they try to take a lot of like, you know, of the element from that show where you're basically just watching a show of a bunch of guys in the car trying to find a tornado and the drama of them trying to like dig their car into the ground so they can withstand, even though functionally those things don't work the way that the movies make it work. They think that you can withstand like an F5 tornado. No, that will rip you like right out of the ground if it really did come to that. But that's why they don't drive into stuff like that.
And
Plus,
see,
The Storm was a good tornado movie.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, you know, like that's not cinematic. Like a reality TV show is not cinematic. Like
Bingo.
that takes me out of a movie. You know what I mean? Like that's I just don't like it. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just my own personal.
That's one of the few points of references that viewers who have very little knowledge of the first Twister would understand. Remember, like I don't know, I think I pointed this out online, and certainly I think in my review that's coming tomorrow. Glenn Powell was 8 years old when the first Twister came out. Daisy Edgar-Jones was not even born.
Yep.
So there's not much of a connection there. They won't get it. Their point of reference would be those TV shows or the Storm Chasers.
Correct.
That's why they have this character, the Glenn Powell character, be that. I mean, it's not on TV, but it's on YouTube, something that they might know a little more. That's why they did it this way.
I am Glenn Powell's age, okay? Twister came out during my childhood. I saw it, whatever. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying, but
96?
Yeah.
96 first one.
I was 11. So,
I mean, I was 8.
They should have made They should have made Glenn Powell or his last name Belzer, because he kind of does look like him a little bit.
So
Maybe
what
about 40 years.
connection is there to the original Twister except for the beginning
fun.
with the Dorothy, fucking things that go up in
and that's the other thing with this movie too. It feels like I wouldn't say almost a beat for beat remake, but it's like it's very similar in theme with like the first film, where it's like it starts off with, obviously the first movie had like Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, and it was kind of them like, hey, I just want you to, we're getting a divorce, just need you to sign the paper, but I'm just gonna keep jerking you around so that we can go storm chasing. So that was kind of like the central of the theme. And then like even the scene where like she goes, like after they survived the first tornado, they go to see her mother, and they show like her mom's house and everything. It's like it's following a lot of the similar themes of the first one to a T. And then you get to like the big ending here. So keep in mind, they were finally trying to test out her little device to see if she could finally kill a tornado. And right before the tornado forms, it's like, oh, there's a tornado heading towards this small town over here. We need to stop everything that we're doing, because that's the only reason why we're out here to begin with, and go help these people. And then there was this big conflict with like the dude who's like, no, we need to just focus on the tornado. It's over there. It's like, no, dude, I'm going to help these people because I'm not in it for the money. So then they drive away and they go to the small town. And here's the thing. I don't know much about Midwest USA, so I won't sit here and pretend like that I do, but I would have to think that if you live in bumfuck Tornado Valley, that you would probably have a more sturdier infrastructure to like your entire town, because it felt like everything in this town was literally made out of like cardboard and like old rotten power wood,
sucked up into a whirling vortex of wind in mind. Like, how best can we build a building to crumple into this vortex?
No, I mean, not
even so it hits the downtown area of the town. There's no basements whatsoever. Nothing is made out of like any kind of metal or brick or anything. So it's like everything's just built to just spontaneously combust. It's like the poorly thought of town, like in the entire like country.
Not even that. The people who I assume have lived there for years didn't want to leave their farmers market. They're still trying to take everything down and
How
and try
die
to
with
put
this
everything.
zucchini? You hear
Yes,
me?
it just seems so bizarre. They would know, and yes, you would have. I mean, remember in the first Twister, Helen Hunt's trauma came from the fact that her father had tried to hang on to the door of their basement and was sucked out. So the people here know about tornadoes. They're not going to need the tornado wrangler and the tornado whisperer to tell them hide, run, because they would probably do that already by instinct.
So
Well,
what I
here's
like
the
to
thing.
do.
Let me ask you guys
Go
this:
ahead.
does this movie have a progressional size of the tornadoes F1 to F5
No.
in that order?
No, because the
Jumps
quote
the
unquote
gun.
the biggest tornado is in the opening of the movie, and then they don't have another tornado that truly matches that. Like even like the end scene here that you're saying, like that tornado by comparison isn't nearly as
so there's
big
a
as the other ones.
sequel.
But it just so happens that they're in a part of town where like they just get absolutely rammed because they were completely unprepared for a tornado.
It can't be that
Nice
strong. It can't be that strong of a storm if Glenn Powell is able to physically hold back this woman from winds of like 132 miles per hour.
He has hunk strength. He has main character strength, so
Yep.
he can hold on to her just for a little bit.
And his boot manages to hold on to the theater chair, which looks like it's about to fly off as well. So
That honestly, that was probably the more unrealistic part of the scene. It's not the fact that he was holding on to her; it's that he's basically holding on to a theater chair, an old theater chair, by like the hook of his shoe. It's like there's no way. There's absolutely just no way.
But he's Glenn Powell. He's Hangman. Of course he's
But it's fortunate that Kate was able to save the day just in the nick of time, because she realized that there's no way they're going to outrun the storm. Like this storm is going to like dick them down hard. So she drives her truck into the heart of the storm and releases her magic concoction that just so happens to kill the tornado dead in its track. So it actually worked this time.
I love Rob's reaction right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
dumb.
and look, we've seen a lot of bad movies this year, and this is probably not even going to make my top 10 worst movies of the year. But the idiocy and stupidity of the storytelling is just too much for me to overcome. Okay, I can handle a lot, in action movies and whatever. This is just too much. Okay, like the characters do not matter. They just don't matter. Like they're there so that we can witness the storms destroying shit. And maybe, just maybe, they'll make it through to the end. And then you cut their fucking kiss because strong woman can't kiss a man and be weak or whatever.
Heterosexuality is not allowed.
Logic. Okay, that's it. Because I'm like, I don't even understand the logic of why you can't have them kiss at the end of the movie. That's what everybody wants to see. Just give it to them. And then the other thing I'll say is they said that they didn't mention climate change, yet Maura Tierney's character, the Kate's mom, is like, they just keep getting worse and worse. And I'm like, okay, well, there's your little nod to climate change there, buddy.
Well,
by the way, Maura Tierney, let's just ask you guys real quick, because we last saw her, and I think it was like the Von Erichs movie, the Iron Claw, a few months ago. Is she still attractive, or is she past her prime? Like, where were we rating her there?
No, she's not attractive.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
show me a picture of her right now.
It's the mom from Liar Liar, if that helps.
She was on ER for like a decade. That's all I remember her from.
Yeah, no.
I
mean, like maybe for her age.
I
from Mimic. I did that.
I think that people that I talked to were worried that that the mom was going to turn out to be Helen Hunt. So I think I'm just thankful that there was no.
I think Rob would have walked out of the theater if it turned out to be Helen. I think that would have broken.
It's Academy Award winner Helen Hunt to you.
If they were in Oklahoma, did they even make reference to El Reno?
I don't remember. You guys.
For those of you who don't know, El Reno was a 2.6 mile wide tornado.
No,
widest on record.
No, I don't think they mentioned anything like that. They were too busy. They were too busy trying to whip out quips at each other and go to rodeos and have the battle between the tornado wrangler and the tornado whisperer, and have the British guy constantly freaking out.
Yeah.
Now, not to mention having the Puerto Rican guy from Transformers.
So,
the guy from In the Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Washington Nights.
So I'll have to check this movie out sometime just to get my own thoughts on it. I mean, I haven't seen it, folks, but you know what? From what I hear, I'll have to watch my own because I don't listen to shit about what he says about movies. Him.
Yeah, you'll probably.
Here's what I will say, because here's what I will say, because I know I'm going to have a completely different reaction to this movie than everybody else. It's all right. It's perfectly fine. I think a lot of people are watching this because, let's be honest, there really isn't that many summer movies out there that are enticing. Now, to be fair, movies have gotten better this summer, but I think the movies that we like are kind of like the film nerd type of films. Like, there really isn't anything out there for like big audience at the moment, and this is kind of it. And I think they even mentioned this too with like the box office, that a lot of people were watching this in like 4DX. With 4DX, if you guys haven't been to a 4DX theater, if you don't have one in your town, it's basically a theme park ride. It's basically a roller coaster. Your seats move. There's smoke. There's rain. There's lighting. So if people are going to watch this movie in the style of like a theme park ride, you're going to absolutely enjoy it. If that's how you went to go see this film. Outside of that, it's fine. It's a disaster movie. It gives you tornadoes. I think it kind of, well, I mean, you can't even say it skirts off too much on the desk because her entire team did die at the very beginning, but I don't think it killed as many people as it could have killed.
You know what?
You barely meet them. They're at the beginning and they get taken out.
It's kind of funny when they die because, I mean, they get sucked up, but the boyfriend, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to hold on to you." Woo! He just flies off at that own moment. It's like, I was fighting.
I got you, babe. No, I don't.
I was pulling back from laughing because I'm going, what is this? I never learned their names. They're not important. They're just there to serve her trauma. And Navi there.
And another thing, can I just say this too? Maybe this is a little bit morbid for me, but let's be honest. We're talking about in the context of a disaster film. When people get sucked away into a tornado, I hate the trope of like the little like light scream. It's like, oh, like they get sucked away. It's like if you're getting sucked into an F5 tornado, like I want to hear like some oh shit, like sometimes like really like human emotion out of that. Can we change that?
like
Yeah,
this.
it's like no, like I want to do a little bit over the top here. Like, let's really try to sell this whole
terror, real fucking terror.
Yes, it does.
So basically, what they need to do is they need to grab, or they need to take this person outside with a fucking boom mic above them and fucking just hold a gun on them, or I don't know, shoot their foot or something like that, or just scare the fuck out of them so freaking bad they piss themselves.
So
like
the
that.
thing about
And
this
then
is it
80 yard
sounds
that
like the
into the movie
Godzilla
when they get
movie,
sucked up by the twister.
where they had to do the oxygen bomb to kill Godzilla. I think it's the first one or like one of the early ones. It sounds like the oxygen bomb that she had to detonate inside of the tornado in order to destroy it, the same as the Japanese military had to lure Godzilla to the oxygen bomb. And this is what I just want to point out about it, though, is that like that is a far superior plot line they should have just copy and pasted. That the military or this organization as storm chasers is trying to get an oxygen bomb into the heart of the tornado. And that's just their repetitive mission, is that they have to deal with the fact that they're probably going to die doing this, and the storm's relentless and they can't catch up with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Armageddon.
I would just say
do
that
the Armageddon.
I would just be very careful to try to peg any success that this movie has on Glenn Powell. I mean, he was not the main draw, as pretty as he is. He was not the main draw. It's the tornadoes. It's the destruction. It's the lack of flying cows. That's what people wanted to see in this movie. And I didn't get my money's worth when it comes to like the destruction and the chaos.
The flying cow value.
The flying cows. I didn't get that. There wasn't any sense of genuine fun in this. I mean, the first Twister, whatever its flaws, at least, well, slightly.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the Tornado Wrangler, they're doing all of this for benevolent purposes. They're not chasing to get clicks or likes. They're chasing it so that they could provide food and water for when these people lose their homes. That's the raison d'être, and I'm not quite buying it.
No,
but there you go. So yes, he was in a big movie, but he's not the draw.
What if they added giant robots that fought the tornadoes, right? So the sequel comes and like this character's like the bomb was great, but I've built a robot now that fights the tornadoes, right? So she's gonna go hunt down that tornado that killed everybody, right? And beat the hell out of it. 'Cause it's
I
out
got a
there,
better
it never
question.
stops.
Godzilla versus tornadoes.
See?
I will only accept that cider if it's the robot from Superman 3 when the sister gets sucked into that machine and she becomes a robot and starts zapping everyone. If that robot were to attack the tornadoes, then maybe you have a movie.
But it's so tiny. That's not an
Well, you get it
80-foot
larger.
giant robot.
You get it larger. You enlarge it.
I just want to make one more comment here. That's relatively serious. I will say one thing about Twister, the original. Like, they look. It's very simple. It's these teams chasing after storms, right? They even had a better sense of composition and actually giving you perspective and multiple angled shots. This one felt claustrophobic by default, by comparison, because you're in the vehicle, you're inches away from the vehicle, you're on the other side. It just did not have any kind of flow. Shots being matched.
Rob, you have to get the point of view of the YouTube viewer. That's why they had it there. That's why they did it that way.
It's so bad. It's so unartistic. It's so, you know what I mean? It's like you're making a movie though, and however you want to incorporate that into it.
But you know what?
The problem is that
that's
the
the problem.
director. The problem is that the director is the director of Minari, and again, it's a strange. It's like when they got the director of Nomadland to make Eternals. Here's
the problem.
Film into a large disaster movie, and it's not going to work.
The central problem here is that this is not a film; it's a movie, right? And if we're going to use like film snob terms, like this is in every textbook definition a movie. This is a movie about tornadoes, and that's mostly it. So my final thoughts. Final thoughts on this one is that I give you like a 3 out of 5. So I'm going higher than you two, but yeah, I'll go here with 3 out of 5. Rob's saying 2. Rick, what are you giving this one? 2 out of 5. Yeah. So like I said, this won't hit the worst list of anyone's list this year, but it definitely is not going to hit the best list of anyone's list this year.
Better than Argyle.
I don't even think Argyle's in my top 10 worst anymore. I have to go back and see where I have that at the moment.
With the Magical Society of Negroes or whatever it's called, with Babes, with the light, the TV glow.
I saw the TV glow, Drive-Away Dolls.
That right there's 5 that are terrible and are all worse than. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen them, but are all worse than Argyle.
Well,
and
I saw Family Affair,
Monkey Man, Lisa Frankenstein.
I saw Family Affair, and that was very close to actually dethroning.
Who was
Argyle.
that? Family Affair.
That's the one that Jacob made me watch on Netflix with Zac Efron. And,
is that the one I made you watch it and we didn't review it?
Yeah. The American Film Institute winning Nicole Kidman. That's the one, and that was bad. But still, no, I would sooner watch Twisters than Argyle.
Well, we do have to talk about our closer here, and our closer is the rise and fall of Kris Tyson from the MrBeast YouTube show. So some of you guys may remember here, we did talk about this maybe about a month or 2 ago when this whole thing kind of started. But Kris Tyson is a longtime friend and one of the confidants of MrBeast. MrBeast is the current biggest YouTuber on the platform right now. I don't know how many subscribers he has at the moment, but I think it's well over 250 million at this point. So if you guys don't know who MrBeast is, he's the guy on YouTube that loves to give away money and do videos about how much money that he has. He currently has 305 million subscribers on YouTube. So yeah, that's well over 250 million people are subscribed to him all over the world. Yeah, and it's just so interesting that we have to talk about this. So initially when we first talked about Kris Tyson here was because last year he decided to turn trans and become a woman. He now wants to be referred to as Ava, which good luck with that, especially after everything that's been alleged. And then people are talking about, no, you left your wife, you left your kids, you broke up your marriage and your family to chase the dream of you being a woman, like what a dirtbag he is. But despite everything that happened at the time, MrBeast completely, backed him up all the way, saying, no, this is still my friend, and you guys are just being transphobe bigot people and stuff like that. So he let it all slide up until we started getting some indication here that maybe this person wasn't exactly on the up and up. Multiple people have come forward over the last several I guess days to allege that Kris Tyson had inappropriate conversations with them when they were minors. And we're not talking about like the whole Dr. Disrespect. Oh, allegedly he slept with like a 17-year-old. These are people who are like 12, 13 years old while he was not 12, 13 years old. So there's just been one video after another alleging inappropriate interactions with them. Here's one person who claims that he had an NDA signed with MrBeast after he worked there earlier this year, and he's saying that there's a lot of stuff going on.
Hold on, let me turn off the music. I'm outside MrBeast studio right now. Here's a cornfield. I'll explain that tomorrow. I've just been driving by looking to see, you know, is there an FBI raid going on? What's happening? My name's Dawson. I worked at MrBeast from February to May of this year, 2024. Kris is the tip of the iceberg. And when Jake the Viking says MrBeast knew, yeah, MrBeast knew. I heard many times that Ava, Kris Tyson, is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything MrBeast has done. Amazon, if you can get your money back, get your money back.
So people are alleging here that there's even more to the story. Jake the Viking, the guy he referenced there, was a guy who collabed with MrBeast on a few videos, and even he's saying that, yeah, MrBeast knew and alluded to there's other stuff going on too. Other videos here, this is another video of Kris Tyson apparently having a DM conversation with someone who I believe was 14 years old at the time. Kris has now nuked all of his social media accounts, Snapchat, Twitter, deleted all the tweets that are off there, which means that a lot of people probably had something on him that he wanted to get rid of very, very quickly, and all that's now gone here. So this is some other video evidence being used here about some inappropriate conversations with minors. Then somebody else brought up this video here too. Now this is apparently like an old video of apparently Kris before his conversion to being a woman, allegedly sharing revenge porn pics of Jeanette McCurdy that happened several years ago. And I do not believe she was a minor at that time, but obviously with all the other allegations being lumped into this, does not look very well, or as the kids say, it's not a good look. So it finally came to a point where after all of the talk, all of the discussion here, that Kris made a statement here a few hours ago saying that, you know, I'd like to apologize for any of my past behaviors or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, I have mutually decided that it's best I permanently step away from all things MrBeast and social media to focus on my family and my mental health. Maybe it's a little too late for that. Maybe we should have thought about that a few years ago, but whatever. Then when Kris put out this message, everyone lambasted. Like within like an hour of this, he had like 10,000 comments of people just like saying that you didn't apologize. It basically is a false apology. Didn't even mention any of the allegations of, you know, acts with minors or anything like that. So then you have to come back around like a few hours later. This is like maybe like 2 or 3 hours after the original statement to do a tweet thread to let people know that he's not a groomer. I like to add, I've never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up of these allegations has vocally supported that they are false. Now, this person was one of the main people who started this whole thing. Apparently, Lava here has made a statement saying that he was not groomed by Kris, but unfortunately, this is only one of many people who alleged multiple inappropriate conversations here. So even if they say that this person is saying that it's false, you have now several other people who are claiming otherwise. So it's one of those situations. Having said that, I humbly apologize if I hurt anyone with my unacceptable social media posts, past actions, or anyone who may feel betrayed at how I used to act online. To lump these two factors together and create a narrative that my behavior extended beyond bad edgy jokes is disgusting and did not happen. In the past years, I have learned my old humor is not acceptable. I cannot change who I was, but I will continue to work towards myself. This is because a lot of people started posting old tweets of him basically... put it to you this way, it was basically the same thing with James Gunn, where James Gunn had a whole bunch of pedophile jokes, and things that you barely even qualify as a joke, for being completely honest with ourselves. But people start digging up those old tweets, so that's what he was essentially apologizing for. But like I said, none of the interactions of the alleged interactions with minors. So I don't want any of these accusations to be impact the hundreds of people who work at MrBeast, which is why I stepped away. That's the official statement there from Kris. So that's pretty much the story up to this point. We don't have any more developments outside of that, but now people are questioning, why did it take this long for MrBeast to make a statement about this, especially if these things have been known for a while, which now even people who are directly working with MrBeast were now saying, it's like, you've known about this for a while and you said nothing and you defended it. This is the guy who, like I said, the biggest YouTuber on the platform right now, 305 million subscribers. It looks like that Kris is taking the bullet for the entire channel, but who knows if this is actually going to be the end of the story at this point. Cider, I will start this one off with you. What are your thoughts on the whole Kris Tyson, I guess, debacle now, like we can officially call it, based on this whole situation?
Well, we're back around at it again, where people aren't upfront with what happened, and it's come back to bite them in, great effect. So eventually somebody's going to figure it out that when this stuff is found out internally, it gets brought to the light immediately. Whoever did it gets run out on a rail and everybody else involved joins them. I don't care if it's the star MrBeast. You're dealing now with a liability that involves thousands of people. If this goes to trial, just the discovery portion will take years. MrBeast has interacted with no less than 100,000 people across the fucking planet. I'll remind you, he caught a bunch of shit a couple weeks ago for being out there connecting African tribes with clean water. Now, I imagine we hear about human trafficking in Africa all the time. I wonder what happened while he was there with Kris, huh? Not too many security cameras over there. Not too many cell phones with high-definition cameras floating around to take very insecure pictures of a gentleman being too close with children. So it's only wonder what the hell is going to go on now that he's admitted to doing this, by the way. He came out and he said, I apologize if any of my stuff has offended people. So it's like, I'm sorry you're mad at me for talking to kids in a sexual manner. At least talking. Let's put it this way. We don't know because, again, you go into that compound, anything goes on in there. You got to sign an NDA, by the way, if you go into that place.
And the guy in that video showed the NDA that he signed after alleging that he worked there for several months.
Don't work anywhere where there's a cornfield out front, okay? Nothing good happens when they put the corn out front. It goes out back. There's a corn hole in the back for a reason.
Neo Zoic asked the question, do you think that this is basically going to affect MrBeast? I will say no for now, because here's the thing. People don't follow MrBeast because he makes amazing content. They follow him because he's known for giving away money. And the reason why they subscribe to him is because they want the opportunity to be in one of his videos where he just so happens to give away thousands upon thousands of dollars that they can win. So unless this somehow snowballs into a situation where this Kris situation gets far, far worse, and there's evidence to support that MrBeast absolutely knew about this, keep in mind, these two are basically like best friends for the entire run of his video. Like, you can't watch any old MrBeast content up until like the last year or so without Kris being there. So these two were very, very close. It wasn't like that this was he was an acquaintance who he only worked with for a couple of years. Like, they were basically best friends for a while. He knows Kris very, very well. So he can't even come out with the excuse of, oh, I had no idea that this was going on, when everyone with two pairs of eyes could see that. Well, I guess one pair of eyes, maybe two eyes. You know what I'm talking about. Everyone saw exactly what was happening here. So unless this goes somewhere even far darker than it is right now, I don't think it will hurt him yet, unless something really pops off, and we'll see if that happens. Orange Chat, what's your take on the Kris Tyson thing?
This man touched anybody inappropriately, or even talked to anybody inappropriately that is not above legal age. He's a sicko. If MrBeast is connected to it, knows anything about it, he should go to the fucking police. As far as MrBeast and any of this stuff, if it does go to trial, if any of it does go to trial and the whole discovery phase, court of public opinion will destroy MrBeast. Court of public opinion will destroy him. Unfortunately, I don't like court of public opinion. I think that it should be completely discarded when it comes to any sort of objective looks. But unfortunately, court of public opinion has become relevant in today's society. I'm not saying it should be. I am simply saying it is. And if there is any sort of allegations of this sort of behavior connected to this dude, I think that it does warrant a huge investigation due to the fact alone that this guy has a massive following. Folks, I've been through these kind of allegations. I know what kind of fucking toll it takes on you. Your life goes to shit with these allegations. Your life is turned upside down. You're put under a fucking microscope. And it's not fun. It's not cool. It's fucking invasive.
And by the way, just real quick, just to update this whole situation, the kid in the first video who showed the NDA who was in the car, they've now confirmed on the internet that the NDA is in fact real and that he did in fact work with MrBeast for several months. So people were questioning whether that was like a real kid or if that was a prank. No, they confirmed that he actually did work with those guys.
Then there needs to be some serious investigations into this dude. As for the Amazon thing, I have no idea what that is there. Apparently Amazon is connected to them monetarily or something.
And Amazon just paid MrBeast a lot of money to do like kind of like a game show for their Twitch channel or like Amazon Prime channel. So Amazon has a partnership with him now too.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, but here's something that a lot of people don't realize. In the last year alone, a lot of the disgusting behavior that is being thrown around and alleged in this has also had a connection with the transgender community. A lot of transgenders have been reported and arrested for that kind of behavior. So I'm not saying that all transgenders are like that. However, I am saying that there is a large number of them being rounded up for that kind of behavior. There should definitely be something looking into in that sort of arena as well.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
As for the rest of this, what's his name? Kris Tyson.
Yeah.
Person. If you are guilty of it, you deserve to rot in fucking hell. As for the whole thing where he's connected, or the stuff that's similar to James Gunn hasn't stopped saying shit like that. And yet people will still fucking support him and go watch his movies and shit. He hasn't stopped. But yeah.
And that's why Kris got called out as hard as he did earlier with his first statement, because it sounded like he was trying to like pass everything off by saying that, oh, it was just some edgy jokes that I made a few years ago, and that's all it. Now let's all move on now. And people was like, that's not why everyone's upset with you. They'll try to pretend like it was those pedo jokes that you made 10 years ago that people were coming after you. It's like you were proven to be in the DM of not one but multiple minors making multiple inappropriate sexual related statements. So like I said, it's basically everything that everyone canceled Dr. Disrespect for, except for we have far more evidence that he did it, and there's a lot more people involved than just one. So let's be honest, if Kris wasn't trans, they'd be going after him a lot harder than they were going after Dr. Disrespect.
Well, that's right there. I want to say something. Okay. And I have been trying for years to figure out why this shit's been being pushed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what individual people do. I don't care if you want to be a fox or something. Like, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to really see it, but whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care what people do in their lives. It's when corporations get behind it and start pushing it. That's when the thing made me feel like, what is this? Why is this being pushed? Why is it being promoted? What's that about? That's strange. And then ever since this story came out, a few other stories, I have slowly but surely, like, and maybe I'm completely wrong here, but I believe there are certain people, certain criminal people who use that community to hide themselves. So I don't know. Listen, it's just a hunch, but it's like when I hear about stories like this, and I don't know anything about MrBeast, I'm completely in the dark. That guy is like PewDiePie to me. Like it's just a famous internet celebrity. When I was working at 7-Eleven to get enough money to come back here to Pennsylvania, I first saw the MrBeast, like, what are they, snacks? Like the bars, like the MrBeast bars or whatever. So I don't know anything really about this person, or the online community, but hearing about this is like, oh, he became a woman to pursue these fucked up, and I don't know that. I'm just, but from what I've seen, from what I'm hearing, that's what it sounds like. And I'm just like, why is it mostly men becoming women? Why is it mostly men becoming women? You know what I mean? It's not the other way. So it's like, and again, I don't want to say it because it sounds like, it sounds accusatory. It sounds like, I'm making a big generalization, and again, I'm not saying all, but I am saying I have seen a pattern now where people who have a certain interest in, let's just say it, children, have like started to co-opt this identity as a form of protection, as a form of to prevent criticism. And so again, I hope I'm wrong about all of this, but just hearing this stuff, that's what it makes me think of, and it just really creeps me out. So,
and I think what a couple people are alluding to, like how this might get worse. Obviously, Keemstar, and look, we all know Keemstar, it's hit or miss with that guy. But Keemstar obviously talked about how, I guess a year or two ago, Kris liked what was it? Some animated pornographer, like a Shadbase. That's the guy's name. He apparently made a let's just play a minor related porn pic of, was it, Keemstar's daughter, that she was obviously furious about, and then Kris never apologized for it, which is why he's still holding him up. Then there was also another allegation, I remember when we talked about this a few months ago, about Kris was associated with a couple of transgender porn stars who were also allegedly grooming younger kids with their pornography content. I think it was either like a Reddit or like a Discord thing, but they basically had gotten caught doing some things with minors too. So this is why people are saying that not only did they know, but it's even far worse than what's actually being alleged here. So now the question is like, how hard is his cover-up going to be? Because like I said, MrBeast has at this moment a multi-billion-dollar empire on YouTube alone, and is he going to lose all of that because his best friend was doing some weird stuff with kids along the last few years? And we all know that a large portion, I think Sider mentioned here, a large portion of MrBeast's fan base are children. There are children who watch his content. Like I said, either they want to get on the game show to win money, or they just like watching his gaming videos and stuff. So there's a lot of questionable things going on here behind the scenes. We don't have all the facts and all the evidence just yet, but it's not looking good based on what we had.
Well, I do want to make it clear about this thing is that when you're looking at what Kris is, right, Ava, for instance, as a transgender, the whole thing with them is that it's a dysphoric state. And what is dysphoria? It is the opposite of euphoria, meaning they are dissatisfied with their gender, right? That's not on its face. That's what the definition of those two words together mean. Beyond the medical definition, those two words together is I'm dissatisfied with my gender. Now, the trouble with that is that we've classified it as a mental illness, right? That this is not just like a stage in your life where you're like, I think I'd get better in life if I was a woman, And there's legitimate like delusional thoughts that go with that, but that borders more into, schizophrenia, where reality is actually breaking for you, as opposed to the dysphoric state where you're looking yourself in the mirror and be like, oh, I wish I had curves instead of, not curves. And so this is what I'm trying to get at is that when you're in a dysphoric state, like as it's described in the psychology handbook, the DCM-5 before Obama edited it, the way that it's described in there is that it's more close. It's a state closer to schizophrenia. And the reason why it's defined differently is because the characteristics of it don't involve like voices in your head telling you that, unlike Ellen Page, right? What did we hear about Ellen Page? There were voices telling her she needed to be a man. That was the only way she was going to get through life if she was a man. Literal demons telling this girl to chop her boobs off.
Yep.
So this whole thing is that you have a group of people now that have been coddled by the government and told they're very special. And they're in a state of mind where reality is not real to them. So at any moment, this guy can, Hold on, I got a message here. Oh, so this whole thing is sort of melting down into what we're looking at with them having an interest in children has less to do with the fact that they're transgender, in my opinion. It has more to do with the fact that they're not connected to reality. The government has allowed them, and the law have allowed them to just not confront reality. Treatment for them is now acceptance treatment. And so now what reality they did have in front of them, holding them to that expectation, vanishes. And so anyone who has an indulgent personality is obviously going to go down the rabbit hole into this mess. And I think that's a deciding factor, is that there's no inhibition. No one along the way is saying, don't do that.
And I just want to say real quick, I have an indulgent personality. I love indulging in the things that I'm interested in, but I have this thing where I try not to be a fucking moron.
It's true.
That stops me from making so many mistakes and so many bad choices. So and it's like, and it doesn't have anything to do with what other people think of me. It's no, I hold myself to a pretty like strict standard of how I would like to be. And so I suppose that separates me, but it's like,
I suppose when I say,
and here's the thing too,
when
just
I
real
say
quick,
indulgent, I mean the Dionysian way, like in
Oh,
Dionysus
well-
manner, and that you indulge at the sake of like self-destruction, I guess.
I mean, it's, yeah.
First of all, I wish Trap Queen was here, because Trap Queen has been covering this for a while, like
Speaking
even
of
longer than I have.
Dionysus.
Just real quick, like she's noticed this, and a lot of people have noticed this too, especially with these men. Like, even notice the ones that go from men to women. There's a clear pattern here of pornography addiction with a lot of these men, and it seems like that a lot of them, especially in the trans community, they always have a similar story about how they started watching porn at a very young age, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, now I'm a woman now, because they're trying to act up some kind of mentally corrupted sexual fetish out like in real life. And I know a few people have talked about this. I think Lauren Chen did a couple of videos about this over the last couple of years, and ironically enough, a lot of women have noticed this trend outside of the men. But yeah, this is definitely a thing, and who knows if Kris is another one of these person. The Trap Queen apparently has 2 jobs. She wanted to let me know that she not only has one job, she has 2, which I told her before, if you have 2 jobs, it means you don't have one. So and then of course this video is also trending too. Here are all the MrBeast stuff. We played Andrew Tate earlier when he was talking about MrBeast a few months ago, and then this is his response to everything that's happening with Kris.
So MrBeast's tranny friend, he's been caught talking to kids, trying to fuck children. Surprise, surprise. Didn't see that one coming. Fucking hell. You know what's most amazing to me about this whole scenario? That nobody seems to point out this guy's name. MrBeast. They think that's a bit of a strange name. I'm sure I could Google it and there'd be some bullshit reason why he's called MrBeast. I'm sure they're coming with some stupid story that when he was a kid, he had a figurine called Beast, and then when he grew up, he wanted to be a figurine. Some fucking garbage. Why would the largest YouTube channel with an affinity towards children in the world be named after the beast from the devil? Why would that happen? Is that a coincidence? Considering the fact that you don't get to become the largest YouTube channel in the world without permission from the Matrix, because they throttle the accounts they don't like, and they take subscribers off, and they prevent the accounts that tell the truth from getting views. If you're getting that many views and that many subscribers, it's because they're pushing you to the front with the algorithm. They want the kids to see you. And by coincidence, this account they want the kids to see is named after the beast. And these are the same people who openly admit they're coming for your children. They chant it in the streets at LGBT parades. We're coming for your kids, because the LGBT agenda has no future without your children. They can't have kids. They can't reproduce. They need your kids. They need to come and take yours. And they're open about it. And they put their flags everywhere. They have their month. And they put all their bullshit propaganda in schools to try and convince kids to do all this insanity and confuse children. And at the same time, the largest YouTube channel aimed at children in the world, now, coincidentally, one of them becomes a tranny who tries to fuck kids, and that's being normalized, and it's all called the Beast, and it's an accident? Call me a conspiracy theorist. Seems pretty fucking obvious to me what they're doing.
So that's Mr. Tate there, who just so happens, like I get it. skewed douche vibes. I think we can all agree with that too here. At the same time, I don't think he's particularly wrong here, but I will say this. I know a lot of people over the last several years have made the conspiracy theory that they think that MrBeast is the Antichrist because they just read a little bit of Revelation and they go, oh, well, the Antichrist is popular, so it has to be MrBeast because he's so popular with all his money. Like, he's not the Antichrist. Like, just be very, very clear about that. Like, we can dispel that conspiracy very, very quickly. But there is clearly something going on there with this whole channel going on, and there seems to be multiple people involved and covering up exactly what's happening. So, final thoughts on this one, and we'll go ahead and wrap things up here for tonight.
I don't know who this person is. All I know is that this case does make me think to, what was it, that Joe Paterno and was it Jerry Sandusky?
Yeah.
People who knew what was going on. Well, in that case, they knew what was going on and they failed to report it. And there were a lot of kids who were damaged because people didn't want to speak up. I don't know about these allegations, but they are serious. They should be investigated, and we'll see how it goes. I feel bad for any of the kids who have been hurt and who are put in dangerous situations. I don't have much to add because, again, I don't know who this person is. I don't watch. I mean, all I ever watch on YouTube are just like the music stations. Listen to that. And this channel, of course, the Barroom Podcast. I watch that religiously every week.
Like I said, it's going to be hard to memory hold Kris out of all of MrBeast's videos if this thing does snowball to get far worse than it is right now. Like I said, he's in literally 95% of everything MrBeast has ever put on the internet. You can't just like get rid of him like he's some kind of like side character. Be like, okay, we'll lose a few episodes here, but we'll have the rest of it. Like, no, he's in everything. Like, I know he does like a Tubi channel that plays all of his stuff 24/7. Kris is in like every single video. So, like I said, this is not something that's going to go away quietly or have a pretty ending if it gets worse. So,
the whole fucking story is mind blowing to me. It's, you see the picture of him with his wife and his kid.
Yeah.
And then you see what he's become. And it's like, it's just, and look, again, do whatever you want. But like, I'm still trying to piece this all together. Like, he leaves his wife and child to become a woman so that he can flirt with underage boys. What the fuck? You know what I mean? And that's, again,
and I will say this too, maybe as a little bit of a pushback. Maybe don't do whatever you want, because like I said, you went from being married with a kid to whatever the hell this is. So maybe doing whatever you want was kind of the problem here.
And I say that with some, and again, my biggest flaw is that I always think that people have the same judgment, the same thought, the same decision-making power that I do, and they don't. I hate people, but I don't give them enough credit for how stupid they are. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Maybe it's just like, hey, I want attention, and this is how you get attention these days. I don't fucking know, man. But it looks like there's severe mental illness. It looks like severe just removal from reality, where you want to live whatever delusion is in your fucking head, which, you know, I can't support. Live and let live, but this is not live and let live. This is you're potentially harming somebody because you're fucking sick in the head.
Well, you know, I'm just puzzled why this person needs more attention, given that he's on the biggest channel on YouTube. So what more attention can you get when you are you're part of the largest channel, and apparently you have a 24-hour Tubi channel, which is news to me. So I'm just puzzled. I mean,
I mean, the Garden of Eden was full of all those neat things, and yet Eve just had to take a nibble of that old apple, now didn't she?
That's what the scripture says, the man-written scripture.
That's true. You got me there.
But as I was taught on Sunday, it was the man who failed, because he should have been protecting Eve.
Should have spanked her, like those old black and white movies. So you're right.
Oh my gosh!
Put her right over his knee. Cut that out. Don't.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go out of my sight from now on.
This is exactly why women weren't given rights in many countries for,
Oh my
several
gosh.
years, and then we
All
went and
right,
ruined everything because
Welcome to Bible Lens
feminism,
Podcast.
and women need to vote and stuff,
Hey,
and then here we are.
First,
we are.
I disavow all this, and secondly, remember Kamala Harris.
Oh, so you were fine with the Indian jokes, but now that the women jokes is where I crossed the line, really?
No, because Kamala is her generation's Indira Gandhi. All right.
Nobody knows who that is. This is a little funny video. I thought.
Really, this shouldn't.
What a Bollywood guy.
How are we able to afford this? 3, 2, 1. Chris, hey! Oh, should we move? Yeah, proceed to go Rocky Car. Oh, okay. 3, 2, 1. What did those neighborhoods look like? So I went down a slide and now I'm sliding into like a different world.
Yeah.
We on a carousel. They have
Same.
shops, restaurants, arcades, even a Star Wars.
Nice
I wonder if I turn
professionalism.
This is fun. For $1 million boat. Look at the view. I'm getting some good sun here. I'm really excited. Oh my gosh. Yes, this is a nice bed. Who discovered their next great job? If this blimp crashes and I die, you guys can use ZipRecruiter to find a new job. That'll make it so much easier. Thanks, man.
like this conversation.
All right.
You see how it's made for children?
That was really good sleep. All right. Here we go, man.
That's just the whole video. It's just a look of disgust and disappointment. And what better way to end this show than that right here?
Why do people watch any of this? I'm puzzled as
Well,
to the attraction of it.
So,
Because they
Mr.
love people with money and they want to get money because he gives away money. That's the
MTV
whole
Cribs.
bit.
Like
Yeah.
we grew up with MTV like shows like this where they were selling some kind of a lifestyle or whatever. It's the same thing. It's the same idea.
It's one
Well,
part
you know,
that-
you know that Cribs came from prostitution.
Sure.
Uh,
So
The
it's
expression,
No,
the
but-
expression, the
The
expression came.
MTV show?
Well, that is but no, the expression Cribs came from prostitution because
It's a rap term, but yeah, I believe you.
No, it's because they.
You understand Orange is trying to go to sleep and you're just like holding him up right now, right? Do you get that?
That's how I.
Orange is going to give you a
okay?
snarl right now.
A long drive from New York to El Paso, but
He'll make it out of spite. If he's
15
driven by
hours.
spite, he will make the drive.
I'll take him. I'll take him
20.
to Whataburger, and that'll make up for it. Sorry, Orange.
All right, then. Now it's time to get on out of here. So I'll go ahead and give my guests here a moment to speak. So, Rick, let's just go ahead and get you out of the way so that we can move on with the show.
I've got upcoming reviews, including Twister and King Kong Lives. I'm still working through my Summer Under the Stars reviews, so I've got at least 8 reviews out of about 20 some odd that I have to do or I want to do. So yeah, I've got more reviews, and I'm going to cover a little bit of the Plaza Film Festival. I saw Hush Hush Charlotte yesterday. I'll be watching Days of Thunder tomorrow, and Coal Miner's Daughter with Sissy Spacek presenting. And all these films I've never seen before. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. It's been delightful, and Kamala's going to win 537 electoral votes.
Anyway, Rob.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. I have let's see. I have 2 podcasts that I'm getting out this week. One is kind of just on the Lex Friedman, Kevin Spacey interview, as well as just some audio on screenwriting that I thought was pretty insightful. And then I am actually doing a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 5-year anniversary review with my friend Trevor on Friday at around 6:30. So look for that on Twitter. I'll have a YouTube link on there as well. And then, yeah, I'm just trying to get some reviews done, all while trying to work a job and get this medical certificate done. So that's just staying busy. Just keep an eye out for my stuff on my Twitter. It's right there. And that's about it.
All right. Let's go ahead and thank Cider and Joe Biden for joining us on this very special episode here.
Well, you're welcome. I don't get to do that very often, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
But,
To be fair, this one actually went out a lot better. If you guys recall, a few months ago, Sider tried to do the Joe Biden bit, but I had like another guest on, and I don't think he knew that going into it. So he was trying to do the Joe Biden bit while I was like trying to do like a somewhat legitimate journalism with the other guest. And it just didn't work out very well. So
Yeah.
we made up for it with this one, certainly.
Thought it was
Missed
funny,
the
by the way.
mark.
So.
Oh, thank you.
4 more months. 4 more months.
While we were streaming, some information about Nick Fuentes dropped, though, and it's nothing that's going to make its way to Bounding. I'm not going to be reporting on this Bounding, but after declaring he won't vote for Donald Trump, Nick Fuentes has been outed as being part of the Dollhouse, which is a Twitter group for trans. Here he is saying Dollhouse meetup, but only the hot people. And,
What?
Yeah. And now here he is saying this. He says, I was also tricked by the trans agenda, but not in the way Elon was talking about.
So I think by now it's painfully obvious that Nick Fuentes is a closeted homosexual cosplaying as a Catholic, and I thought that was obvious from the very beginning. But apparently, there's still full people out there that haven't gotten the grift yet. So
He just real quick, he blocked me like 3 years ago. It was like, hey, aren't you gay? Because
Rob, in fairness, you've
Merch
been
said
blocked
that
by
of
so
RTC,
many.
and it was just like, yeah, aren't you gay? No, it's true. I call everyone gay on Twitter. So.
Hey, make sure you come over to Bounding, the channel there, Bounding into Comics, whatever it is. I work there. I put videos up, whatever. And yeah, we're over there talking about Assassin's Creed. Pulled over 100,000 views the last week before last, something like that. And we're talking about it. Got some Japanese audience members too. So if you want to interact with true blue Japanese, stop by the Bounding into Comics channel and pick any of the current Assassin's Creed videos that are available there. Got Japanese speaking ones. By the way, if you just click the translate button, Google Translate will just provide you with a smattering of verbs and adjectives, and you can decipher your own meaning from them. It's great.
All right,
Thank you.
Orange Hat, let's go ahead and put you on so that you can go night.
Well, thank you. I'm Orange Hat, and I do videos and I do streams. Tomorrow is Jade Shadow, 11:30 her channel, or 8:30 her channel. We're going to be talking Mad Max 2, Road Warrior. Thursday, exclusively on X, is a discussion on my profile with Last Voyage of the Demeter at 8:30. Orange Hat Uncensored, Friday, 10:10 p.m. Sunday is the weekly recap with Ambassadorial Wing this Sunday because my normal co-host Kate can't make it. Monday night rants at 9 p.m. Where I allow people to come on, rant about shit. If they just want to get some shit off their chest, just save the drama for your mama, no personal shit. And Tuesday theme streams, I did slasher horror today, gave my thoughts on slasher horror. And next week I'm doing paranormal horror. So definitely want to tune into that one because you're gonna learn some interesting shit on that one. But yeah, that's basically what I got going, and I'm gonna come up with a new theme come by that time for August. Anyway, also trying to reach 2,000 subs on YouTube. So if I can get to 2025 by 2025, that would be awesome. I'm not really looking for too many views or stuff. It's basically likes and subscribes. That's basically what I'm looking for right now. But I do also appreciate the views as well. So thank you.
All right, and then letting you guys know what I got coming up tomorrow night. I will be on that stream with Cider, Bounding in the Comics, our Black Pill stream. Him and Nerdigans do the Tokyo. What did I say? Oh, Zero. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had the old name and stuck in my head there for a second. But
okay.
Yeah, and then you guys have the Tokyo Hour where you talk about a whole bunch of like Japanese weeb stuff. And I'm still looking for a Korean girl to rival your show out of spite so I can keep this Japan-Korea rivalry going. It seems like I might actually have to go to South and find a South Korean girl so that we can have this whole rivalry that is made purely out of my own pettiness. So we're working on that.
I appreciate you taking a bullet for the team and going to South Korea and finding a South Korean wife just for the Bounding into Comics 01 stream. I really appreciate your dedication.
This is how this lore is going to start. It's like I started out here only because Cider was finding success in Japan, and I wanted to find success in Korea out of spite. And then we ended up getting married, and that's how I met your mother.
You know,
anyway,
there's always North Korea.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, their women are a little bit rough and a little malnourished too. So I mean, I don't know. We'll think about that later. So that's gonna happen on tomorrow night. So go check out Bounding in the Comics for that. This Friday night, we will be reviewing the Deadpool movie. So we will be doing Deadpool 3 this Friday. So me, hopefully Rob, Rick, and a few other people who come here to check the roofs. There you go. Yeah, we'll all be here on Friday night talking about Deadpool 3 and the state of the MCU with a few other special guests here as well. Sunday will be the next episode of the Bible In stream. We'll be talking about the false gospels of people who deny internal security. So we're going to conclude our 3-week series and get into some other stuff. If you guys have followed me on YouTube, you guys realize that I have like Bible In episodes mapped out up until September, because I just feel like there's so much stuff to talk about that I just went ahead and put it out early. So that the whole series is going to get very, very good, because if you guys are paying attention to what's going on in our world right now, who knows how much time we actually have left before the tribulation starts and we get this guy called the Antichrist, or as I like to think of him as the Mahdi. But that's a whole conversation for another day. Then, like I said, next Tuesday night we'll be back here, episode 109. So thank you to Rob, thanks to Rick, thanks to Orange, and thank you for Cider for joining us here for another episode here. Shout out to Keith over on our Rumble side, Descum over on our Rumble side as well for listening to us on that platform. And to all you guys here, Neozoic, obviously, Vanya, Leslie Tarkin, Maurice, Kabuto, Rooftop Korean, Doba Fett, Kenny, Alex, who else we got here? Nukem, Black Metal, Top Dog, all of our people for joining us for tonight's episode. Thank you for listening. Hopefully we guys see you guys on Wednesday night, if not Friday night, if not Sunday night, or we'll see you guys here next Tuesday as well. Now we're going to hit the real outro and get on out of here. Adios, goodbye, and now bye.
It's over. Go home.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Okay. Get out! Get out! You get the hell out!
This entire growth.
Never mind who you thought I was. I'm Rick James.